Chapter 346. The lovely Mrs. Shangguan heavily mistreats the family of Chen Zhaodi Underswan. Why can't I eat sweets anymore? Elderly Madame Shangguan became worried as soon as she heard she couldn't have sweets anymore. Granny, you have diabetes, so eating too many sweets is bad for your health. Elderly Madame Shangguan started to play dumb in order to eat sweets. Since when do I have diabetes? I don't remember having diabetes at all. I don't care, I want to drink something sweet. Old baby, once you grow old you revert to being a child. Shangguan Shi, feeling helpless, said, Granny, have you forgotten what the doctor told you? If you eat too much sugar it will make your condition worse. Those damn idiots only know how to exaggerate the dangers. Elderly Madame Shangguan grumbled unhappily, I've been eating sugar all my life and now that I'm old they suddenly won't let me eat any. This year, elderly Madame Shangguan is already 88 years old. Apart from a slight case of diabetes she's still robust. Cici, your grandmother's good grandson, will you let me have something sweet to drink? Elderly Madame Shangguan held on to Shangguan Zai's clothing, begging for sweet food with a childish charm. Just once, Granny promises only once and Granny swears it. Elderly Madame Shangguan raised 3 of her fingers. Granny, it doesn't matter if you swear 5 times, you really can't eat anything too sweet. Elderly Madame Shangguan grunted lightly, are you still Granny's good grandson? Shangguan Shi smiled and said, Granny, I'm going to get you milk tea now. Elderly Madame Shangguan proudly lifted her face, ignoring Shangguan Shi completely. Although there's a line waiting for milk tea as well, the speed at which the cups are served is much faster than for noodles, so Shangguan Shi quickly returned with 3 cups of milk tea. Granny, this is yours, this is my brother's. This one's mine. Elderly Madame Shangguan pointed at Shangguan Zai's cup and said, Young fellow, I want to drink this one. No, Shangguan Shi shook his head, this one's mine is full sugar. Why is yours full sugar and mine half sugar? Shangguan Shi with a helpless tone, Granny, you need to listen to the doctor's advice. Elderly Madame Shangguan was indignant, I've never listened to anyone in my life, not even your grandfather. Why should I listen to that brat doctor? Shangguan Shi quickly inserted the straw into his cup and drank a large gulp of milk tea. I've already had a sip, Granny, do you still want it? Elderly Madame Shangguan distastefully, who wants your leftovers? I have my own. The trio had been in line for a while. Their cups of milk tea were almost finished by the time they got to their seats. What would you all like to eat? A soft, familiar voice came from above. That voice seemed vaguely familiar. Shangguan Su looked up and saw a familiar face. An I Yang? Is that you? Mr. Shangguan? An I Yang gave a soft smile. Shangguan Shi and elderly Madame Shangguan both looked at An I Yang with awe in their eyes. My goodness, this young lady is too beautiful. Elderly Madame Shangguan felt she was more lovely than change from the stories. Shangguan Zai's gaze swung from Shangguan Su to An I Yang and back. A faint smile played at the corners of her mouth. There aren't many people who can prompt her brother to initiate a greeting. Shangguan Su asked promptly, is this noodle restaurant yours? Yes. An I Yang nodded. No wonder An I Yang could have savings close to 6 figures in the bank. Shangguan Su then ordered, would like 2 bowls of pickled vegetable noodles and 1 bowl of beef noodles, along with a plate of Kanto stew. The beef noodles and Kanto stew are both new items on the menu. An I Yang nodded, okay. Elderly Madame Shangguan looked at An I Yang, then spoke gently, young lady, I would like my pickled vegetable noodles to be spicy, and the Kanto stew should be on the spicier side as well. This young lady is becoming more lovely the more I look at her, like a blooming flower. Shangguan Shi immediately protested, Granny, you can't eat anything too spicy. Sister, don't listen to my granny, we will take everything with normal flavors. Elderly Madame Shangguan immediately started to act the drama queen. They won't let me have sweets, now they won't let me eat spicy foods. What's the point of living as an old woman like me? An I Yang smiled and said, chilies are rich in vitamins A, B, C, E, K and also carotene, folic acid and so on. A moderate intake of chili can help the body expel toxins, speed up metabolism, increase sweating, adjust body functions, and can also have a detoxifying effect. Moreover, it can help to extend one's life. Granny, don't worry, I will adjust the level of chili for you according to your health condition. Chapter 347. The lovely Mrs. Shangguan heavily mistreats the family of Chen Zhaodi Underswan. An I Yang's remarks completely astonished the 3 generations at the table. Ordinary people wouldn't know so much about chili peppers. Chili peppers are a very common vegetable in daily life, and people only know that they're spicy and appetizing. Other than doctors and nutritionists, few people are aware of its numerous benefits. If she understands even chili peppers so clearly, just how vast is her knowledge? After witnessing Ni Yang's fluent French, Shangguan Su was astounded by her for the second time. She resembled the calm, placid deep sea. You'd never know what treasures lay beneath the surface, each revelation bringing a unique surprise. "Young lady, you're impressive," sparks practically twinkled in the old lady Shangguan's eyes. "You outshine my two turtle-like grandkids by a mile. I like you." Old Madame Shangguan was a very cute old lady. To her, all people are equal, and she didn't look down on individual practitioners, nor would she discriminate against anyone because of their occupations. Ni Yang smiled gently. "You're too kind, ma'am." After settling on the food order, Ni Yang went to take orders from the other tables. Old Madame Shangguan looked at Shangguan Su slyly. "Xiaoshu, what is the name of this young lady?" "Ni Yang," Shangguan Su explained. Ni as a single person, and Yang like smoke rising from warm jade under the sun. Lan Tian jade is a type of pale blue jade with a hint of light green. When sunlight shines upon it, a hazy blue mist arises akin to smoke, creating an ethereal landscape. Shangguan Shi exclaimed, "Wow! What a beautiful name. Truly her name matches her." Old Madame Shangguan continued, "How many people are in the young lattice family? How old is she this year?" Tongue-tied, Shangguan Su retorted, "Are you the director of the Family Planning Bureau doing a census?" Old Madame Shangguan sighed, "How can such a pretty girl not be my granddaughter? If she were my granddaughter, I'd go into the temple to burn incense every day." Shangguan Su, Shangguan Shi, is it really okay for you to disdain your own grandchildren like this? Soon, Ni Yang brought over 3 bowls of noodles and a portion of Kanto stew. "It smells so good." Old Madame Shangguan rubbed her hands together impatiently. "Careful, it's hot. This is your complimentary dish." "Okay, thank you, young lady." Old Madame Shangguan continued, "Young lady, I heard others calling you Yang Yang, may I call you that as well?" Old Madame Shangguan had her own plans and naturally wanted to get on good terms with Ni Yang. Moreover, she genuinely liked Ni Yang. Ni Yang nodded, "Of course." Old Madame Shangguan smiled, "Yang Yang, thank you for putting up with an old woman like me. Then I'll call you Yang Yang too." Shangguan Shi introduced herself cheerfully, "Yang Yang, my name is Shangguan Shi and Shangguan Su is my brother. Just call me Cici." Ni Yang being straightforward responded, "Cici." Shangguan Su, going by this trend, shouldn't Ni Yang call him Shushu? But before Ni Yang got to call him Shushu, she went off to take orders for other tables. Old Madame Shangguan stirred her bowl, "This is my first time eating beef noodles. You guys should try the pickled vegetable noodles, they're really delicious." Shangguan Shi took a whiff, "Indeed it smells delicious." Old Madame Shangguan pouted, "Of course. Would I have brought you all here if the food was bad?" Old Madame Shangguan was an experienced foodie. After tasting a bite of the pickled vegetable noodles, Shangguan Shi gasped, "Oh my gosh! It really is delicious. No wonder Grandma sneaks here every day to eat." Feeling guilty, old Madame Shangguan rubbed her nose, "I don't sneak here to eat every day." Seeing them react this way, Shangguan Su decided to have a bite too. The taste was truly astonishing. The beef noodles are delicious too. Old Madame Shangguan plucked a pickled vegetable noodle from Shangguan Zai's bowl. "Let me try your pickled vegetable noodles." "Then you need to let me try your beef noodles too." The grandmother and granddaughter sampled the noodles from each other's bowls. Although all 3 of them had tasted exotic delicacies, these 3 bowls of noodles still amazed them. This fascinating sensation could only be understood by those who tasted it firsthand. When leaving, old Madame Shangguan specifically told Ni Yang goodbye. "Yang Yang, we're heading home." The restaurant was quite busy, with Ni Yang hardly taking a break. But she always carried a slight smile on her face. Even though she seemed never to tire, her smile was contagious, even making Shangguan Su unconsciously smile back. Chapter 348, The Lovely Mrs. Shangguan heavily mistreats the family of Chen Zhaodi _3. "Take care, goodbye." Ni Yang saw the trio to the door. "Goodbye, Yang Yang." Shangguan Shi waved at Ni Yang. "Goodbye." Once out of the noodle restaurant, Shangguan Shi tugged at Shangguan Zu's sleeve. "Brother, that girl Yang Yang is quite impressive. She's well-mannered and cultured, just like a young lady of a noble family." The Shangguan matriarch nodded repeatedly. "Indeed, she is quite impressive. You need to put in effort, Xiaoxiu." The grandmother also made a cute cheering gesture. Shangguan Su replied, "Grandmother, what are you thinking?" The matriarch glanced at him. What am I thinking? Of course, in considering my future granddaughter-in-law. Shangguan Su was speechless. Grandmother, you're thinking too much. Perhaps. The matriarch nodded in agreement. There's no way a beautiful girl like Yang Yang would be interested in you. She's not blind. When one gets old, it's easier to let the mind wander. Shangguan Su, I really am your grandson. Indeed, the matriarch proudly replied. If you weren't my grandson, you wouldn't have the privilege of my criticism. Shangguan Su, Shangguan, she chuckled. Brother, seriously, you have to try harder. Yang Yang is exceptional, she must have a lot of suitors. Shangguan Su replied, we are just friends and I don't have any other intentions. Really? Shangguan, she arched an eyebrow. Really? Shangguan Su responded earnestly. The Shangguan grandmother sighed. Even if you had other intentions, Yang Yang wouldn't be interested in you. If I were Yang Yang, I wouldn't be interested in you either. I would look for someone tall, handsome and rich. Someone more handsome than Tony Leung-chu. At this time, the 1984 version of Dear Cauldron, starring Tony Leung-chu, had just come out. The show was a hit and gained a group of dedicated fans, and the Shangguan matriarch was one of them. Shangguan Su, this is really my grandmother. After the noodle restaurant closed for the night, Anai Yang went to the vegetable market. As soon as she got to the market, she saw Zhaodi holding a bright red camellia flower and looking around expectantly. Zhaodi. Sister Anai Yang. When she saw Anai Yang, Zhaodi's eyes gleamed with delight. In the dark, bleak days, Anai Yang had become her only salvation, her only light, illuminating her path forward. Zhaodi, this is for you. Anai Yang handed her a prepared lunchbox. Thank you, sis. You're welcome. Anai Yang patted her on the head and took 5 yuan out from her pocket. This is for your expenses today. Zhaodi took the money and hesitated a bit before saying, Sister Anai Yang, you don't have to give me 5 yuan every day. Anai Yang smiled subtly. It's fine, take it. After parting ways with Anai Yang, Zhaodi went back to her secret hideaway, sitting at the entrance of the alley, carefully opening the lunchbox, filled with fish slices, noodles, meatballs and vegetables. Zhaodi took a bite of the noodles and narrowed her eyes in content. So delicious. She had never eaten such delicious noodles in her life. After finishing the noodles and hiding the money, Zhaodi headed home, hobbling. When she got home, Chen Xingqian, Zhao Xiaoxi, and Chen Wangkai had already had dinner, leaving her a bowl of cold rice soup. Zhaodi gulped down the soup and went back to her room. It was more of a pigsty than a room, with a faint smell of stench still lingering in the air. Zhaodi didn't mind. She reached under the bed and pulled out a peach pit. The pit was small and red, and one side already had a small notch from being rubbed against the ground. Zhaodi took the pit and began rubbing the other side on the ground. If she could smooth the other side, the pit could be shaped like a small vegetable basket. Just then the door was kicked harshly open. Before Zhaodi could react, her hair was roughly grabbed. Chen Xingqian dragged Zhaodi outside. You little beast. You're getting bold now. Even learned to steal money. Dad, I did not steal any money. Dare to argue, do you? Zhao Xiaoxi approached with a rolling pin, striking Zhaodi's back forcefully. Chen Xingqian also ridiculed Zhaodi with punches and kicks. The couple was ruthless, showing no mercy. You little slut. How dare you steal my money? Do you want to die? This will teach you to steal. This will teach you. Chapter 349. The lovely Mrs. Shangguan heavily mistreats the family of Chen Zhaodi _4. Chen Zhaodi cried out, I didn't steal the money, I didn't. But Chen Xingqian and Zhao Xiaoxi didn't give her any chance to explain. In no time they had beaten Chen Zhaodi until she was black and blue. While feasting on a large chicken thigh, Chen Wangkai clapped and cheered. It's her who stole. Beat up this money-wasting brat to death. So it wasn't you who stole? Zhao Xiaoxi spoke cruelly. Then where's my money? Was it stolen by a ghost? You little parasite, he'll beat you to death today. Chen Zhaodi's heart-wrenching cries attracted the neighbors. What on earth did the child do wrong to deserve such a beating from you? If you keep beating her like this, someone might end up dead. The person speaking was an old woman with white hair. Grandma Gu. Chen Zhaodi hid behind Grandma Gu in fear. Zhao Xiaoxi stood with her hands on her hips. You think we want to hit her? This little parasite, she's even learned how to steal money now. I didn't, Grandma Gu, I didn't. Chen Zhaodi shook her head, her face streaming with tears. Good child, Grandma believes you. Grandma Gu wiped the tears from Chen Zhaodi's face and continued. Xingqian Xiaoxi, listen to my advice. You must do good deeds to have good outcomes. If you are unwilling to keep Zhaodi, you can give her to me to raise. You want to raise her? Give me money, Chen Xingqian said. How much do you want? Grandma Gu replied. Chen Xingqian said, by the standard of 1,000 yuan per year for 12 years, you should give me 12,000 yuan. 12,000? At that time, a farmer's annual income was just over 112,000 was astronomically high. Chen Xingqian was simply asking for an exorbitant amount. Chen Xingqian continued, if you don't have the money, stay out of my family's business. Even if a life is lost, it's my own family matter, none of your business. You little parasite, come here. He was Chen Zhaodi's father. Even if he killed Chen Zhaodi, no one could do anything to him. Chen Xingqian dragged Chen Zhaodi into the house and shut the door to continue beating her. Desolate howling noises kept coming from inside the house. Oh, what a sin, Grandma Gu sighed and shook her head. The couple kept beating Zhaodi for a whole 20 minutes, only stopping when she passed out. Chen Wankai walked over and kicked Chen Zhaodi. Mom, has this money waster died yet? Just then a large renminbi bill fell out of Chen Wankai's pocket. Chen Wankai's eyes widened in shock. Zhao Xiaoxi picked up the bill, surprised. Isn't this the 10 yuan I lost? Wankai, how did it end up with you? As she suspected the money was stolen by Chen Zhaodi, Zhao Xiaoxi put a mark on each bill. So, she recognized at a glance that it was her money. Chen Wankai immediately burst into tears. He was very wronged. Chen Xingqian said, why are you angry at our son? Is it just about 10 yuan? Zhao Xiaoxi bent down to pick up Chen Wankai, soothing him. Wankai, I'm sorry. Mom didn't mean it. Don't cry. If you want money, you can ask Mom. Why did you have to steal it? The couple took their son back to their bedroom without even taking a second glance at Chen Zhaodi, who lay unconscious on the floor. Even though Chen Zhaodi had fainted, she continued to tightly grip the peach pit in her hand. After Ni Yang returned, she began studying the burn ointment. She had observed carefully, although Chen Zhaodi's burns looked terrifying, they were not very severe. Moreover, Chen Zhaodi was still young. As long as she used the medicine in time, she would recover completely. In fact, Ni Yang had started developing the burn ointment the first time she saw Chen Zhaodi. It just lacked a few steps to complete. The next day, Ni Yang found Chen Zhaodi holding a camellia flower at the entrance of the market as usual. But unlike usual, Chen Zhaodi was covered in wounds today. Zhaodi, what happened to you? Ni Yang got a shock. It's nothing. Chen Zhaodi gave a slight smile. My parents did this. Ni Yang frowned slightly. Why would they hit you? They were too harsh. Chen Zhaodi nonchalantly said, I'm used to it, sister. You don't need to be surprised. Ni Yang held Chen Zhaodi's hand. Come with me to my shop. I'll apply ointment for you. Child abuse is a crime. I'll take you to the police. Chapter 350. The lovely Mrs. Shangguan heavily mistreats the family of Chen Zhaodi under 5. No need, Chen Zhaodi shook her head. It's not hurting anymore. Calling the police? That would be useless. As long as she lived in this house, she would never be able to escape this fate. The neighbors had tried to help by calling the police before. But after the police detained Chen Xingqian, the abuse she received escalated. Since then, no one dared to help her call the police anymore. Sister, if you really want to help me, there is something I want to ask of you. Chen Zhaodi lifted her gaze towards Ni Yang, hesitating to continue. Ni Yang said, Zhaodi, don't be afraid. Just speak openly. As long as it's something I can assist with, it'll definitely help. Chen Zhaodi hesitated for a moment and then said, Sister, could you lend me some money? Ni Yang asked, how much do you need? I need to borrow 100 yuan, is that okay? When she said this, Chen Zhaodi's voice gradually lowered. 100 yuan was not a small sum. Would Ni Yang lend it to her, who was only 12 years old? It seemed unlikely, right? Chen Zhaodi bit her lip. Ni Yang reached into her pocket and said, I have 235 yuan left here. You can take it all. Before going to the vegetable market, Ni Yang had put away all the day's profit, leaving just 261 yuan for spending. She had just spent 26 yuan on groceries, so she had 235 yuan left. Although she didn't know what Chen Zhaodi needed the money for, she knew that Chen Zhaodi must desperately need this money, otherwise she would not have asked for it. Moreover, Chen Zhaodi and Ni Yang shared the same fate. Seeing Chen Zhaodi reminded Ni Yang of her own past, she couldn't bear to reject her. Chen Zhaodi clutched the 230 yuan tightly in her hand, swallowing hard before saying, Sister, thank you. Ni Yang then handed over the bag of noodles to Chen Zhaodi. Zhaodi, here are some noodles. There's also a tube of burn ointment in the bag. Apply it on your scars before you sleep every night, it's good for your burns. Thank you, sister. Chen Zhaoda's eyes reddened instantly. She wanted to hug Ni Yang, but her clothes were dirty and tattered, and she was afraid of dirtying Ni Yang's clothes. As if reading Chen Zhaoda's mind, Ni Yang reached out to hug her. You're welcome, Zhaodi. If you ever run into any trouble, just tell me directly. Chen Zhaodi held her head against Ni Yang's shoulder, sobbing softly. For many years to come, she would never forget this moment. Don't cry anymore. Ni Yang caressed her head, whispering to comfort her. The next afternoon, when Ni Yang saw Chen Zhaodi again, her bruises had faded considerably, looking less terrifying than the day before. As before, Ni Yang brought noodles for Chen Zhaodi and also bought flowers. Watching Ni Yang's retreating figure, deeply, Chen Zhaodi bowed. Her eyes filled with unspoken emotions. Sister, thank you. After Ni Yang left, Chen Zhaodi took out a penny and went to the shop to buy 10 fruit candies. Then she asked the old man who swept the train station to help her buy a train ticket. After she finished these tasks, she went home. Since it was still early, Zhao Xiaoxi and Chen Xingqian had gone to work in the field and hadn't returned yet, leaving Chen Wankai sitting at the doorstep. Wasteful brat, finally home. I'm hungry. Cook me something now. Has mom and dad not come back yet? Chen Zhaodi looked inside. Wasteful brat, worthless runt. I'm telling you to cook for me. Are you deaf? The hand Chen Zhaodi hid in her sleeve clenched into a fist. Speaking in a low voice, she said, Wankai, do you want candy? Chen Wankai bellowed, wasteful brat. You dare to eat candy behind mom and dad's back. But, did you steal money? I'm going to tell mom and dad right now, let them beat you to death, you worthless runt. No, Wankai, you misunderstood. I didn't steal the money, I found my candy up on the mountain, look. Chen Zhaodi slowly opened her hand, revealing a piece of candy still covered in dirt. Candy. Chen Wankai snatched the candy, unwrapped it and stuffed it into his mouth. You little runt, where did you find this candy? Just up on the mountain, answered Chen Zhaodi. Then take me there now. Okay, Chen Zhaodi nodded, leading Chen Wankai towards the mountain. Chen Zhaodi led Chen Wankai deep into the forest, pointing to a spot amongst the foliage. She said, Wankai, look, the candy is over there. Fearing that Chen Zhaodi would snatch the candies, Chen Wankai immediately dashed over to pick them up. Chapter 351, The Lovely Mrs. Shangguan heavily mistreats the family of Chen Zhaodi _6. But in the next second, a piercing scream of agony echoed through the air. Ah! Chen Wankai's foot was caught in a large animal trap. The sharp teeth of the trap bit tightly into Chen Wankai's ankle, and his cotton pants were instantly soaked with blood. Bang! Extreme pain. The air was filled with a strong stench of blood. Chen Wankai was in so much pain that he was on the verge of passing out. Crying, he yelled out, Useless bastard! You little jerk! What are you staring at? Hurry up and help me! Chen Zhaodi immediately rushed forward, trying to pry open the trap with her hands. Wankai, don't be afraid, your sister is here to save you. Unfortunately, the trap didn't open but instead clamped tighter. The pain was unbearable, like being bitten by a tiger. Unable to withstand the intense pain, Chen Wankai fainted. Before he lost consciousness, he cursed at Chen Zhaodi, You bitch! How dare you harm me? Mom, come save me. Come beat this bitch. Unfortunately, no one could hear his cries in the thick forest. Chen Zhaodi didn't linger at the place and ran back to the village. Mom and Dad. It's bad. Wankai is missing. When she returned, Chen Xingqian and Zhao Xiaoxi had already noticed that Chen Wankai was missing and were frantically looking for him everywhere. I asked you to watch your brother, how could you lose him? What kind of sister are you? Zhao Xiaoxi slapped Chen Zhaodi across the face. Chen Zhaodi cried out, Wankai said he wanted to go play in the back mountain, I couldn't stop him so I went with him. But all of a sudden Wankai disappeared while we were playing. I don't know what happened. Chen Xingqian grabbed a flashlight and walked out of the house anxiously. Xiaoxi, let's go find Wankai. Once we find him, we'll settle the score with this good-for-nothing girl. If something happens to Wankai today, he'll skin you alive. The couple left the house, cursing and swearing. Not long after, a huge fire broke out in a small farmhouse, consuming everything inside. The flickering flames lit up Chen Zhaodi's dirt-streaked face, and a hint of a smile appeared on corner of her mouth. She finally took the step. Before leaving, Chen Zhaodi went to the door of Granny Gu's house next door and gave a sincere kowtow. These years, Granny Gu had taken care of her time and time again. Without her, she might have died long ago. Just then, the tightly closed door suddenly opened. Granny Gu? Chen Zhaodi looked up at Granny Gu, surprised. Granny Gu shoved a bundle into Chen Zhaodi's arms. Child, don't say anything. Go quickly. Granny Gu, Chen Zhaodi choked out, goodbye? Chen Zhaodi's frail figure disappeared into the dimness of the night. Granny Gu watched her leave and sighed slowly. It's better that she's gone. Because if Chen Zhaodi continued to stay in this family, she would eventually face certain death. By the time Zhao Xiaoxi and Chen Xingqian brought the unconscious Chen Wangkai back from the mountain, the fire was completely out of control, and the beams of the house had collapsed. Oh my God! What happened? Help! Somebody help put out the fire. Chen Xingqian was quite wealthy, and underneath his bed, he had hidden treasures handed down from his ancestors. My treasure! My treasure! Without his treasures, how would his family live the high life in the future? When the couple shouted out in panic, it drew quite a few villagers to come and watch the excitement. But they were there just to watch. In the village, Chen Xingqian and Zhao Xiaoxi were notorious for their domineering, cunning, and evil behavior, frequently abusing their daughter. So when they came to such a state, everyone was almost clapping in joy. What goes around comes around. This is their retribution. Right you are. I beg you, please help us put out the fire. I will pay you a lot. At this point, Zhao Xiaoxi didn't care about her son's injuries anymore. She knelt on the ground, pleading with everyone. Even if you give us a lot of money, we can't act against our conscience. Yes. 3 feet above our heads, there are divine beings watching. If we help put out the fire, won't that just be helping a tyrant? When you two are doing evil things in the village and abusing Zhaodi, didn't you ever think about this day? You deserve it. Please? Zhao Xiaoxi knelt till his forehead was bloody, but no one was willing to reach out a helping hand. Relying on others will not help. Chen Xingqian bravely dashed into the blazing inferno to retrieve his treasure. Wangkai's father. Zhao Xiaoxi screamed in horror, watching as the raging fire engulfed Chen Xingqian. Then there is such a question from the crowd, where is Zhaodi? My goodness. The child isn't still in the fire, is she? Zhaodi is such a pitiful child. Once this realization seeped in, the onlookers promptly began to extinguish the flames. But it was too late, because the fire was way too massive. However, they managed to drag Chen Xingqian out of the burning area, but by then it was too late. Chen Xingqian was so charred that he was unrecognizable. He was barely alive but bedridden for the rest of his life. Chen Wangkai, on the other hand, had to have his limb amputated because his wounds were not properly cared for in time and thus had become infected. As for Chen Zhaodi, everyone speculated whether she had been reduced to ashes in the fire. Everything was lost. No more people, no more money. Zhao Xiaoxi sat on the cold ground, crying uncontrollably, and finally, unable to cope with this blow, he turned mad overnight. At this time, Chen Zhaodi had just gotten off the train. Watching the rising red sun, her eyes brimmed with endless hope. A new life. It had begun. She would tread along the pathway leading towards her future, slowly but steadily. The next day, when Ni Yang went to the vegetable market again, she didn't see the familiar figure with yearning eyes, clutching a camellia flower. It was getting late and there was still no sign of Zhaodi. Ni Yang glanced at the setting sun and furrowed her brows in concern. Excuse me, are you Sister Ni Yang? A childish voice sounded at her side. Looking down, Ni Yang saw a little boy about 7 or 8. I am Ni Yang. How can I help you, dear? The boy said, I'm Zhaodi's good friend. She asked me to tell you that she has gone far away. She will take care of herself and you should not worry about her. Also, the boy pulled a red string out of his pocket and gave it to Ni Yang. She asked me to give this to you. Before Ni Yang could ask anything else, the young boy scurried off. Ni Yang lowered her eyes to the red string in her palm. It was an ordinary red string with a peach pit in the shape of a basket tied to it. The pit was polished and gleamed brightly, which showed the dedication of whoever crafted it. Peach pits tied with red strings were considered talismans against evil in folklore. Nevertheless, this was a token from Zhaodi, and Ni Yang carefully tied it around her left wrist. Soon Saturday arrived. Today was the day of Li Yanren's party. Fearful that Li Ting might not be interested in such a gathering, she had not only invited Ni Yang but also Li Xianxian. The idea of a party, after all, was to make it as lively as possible with more people. Chapter 352, Handsome Counterattack, revealing the true face of Li Xianxian _1 Ni Yang, having accepted Li Yanren's invitation, naturally wouldn't break her promise. It's already the 4th lunar month now, and the weather is slowly warming up. The willows on the river bank are beginning to bud, fluttering in the wind, looking like a girl's slender waist. And Ai Yang opened up her wardrobe. She didn't have many clothes, mainly cheongsams and coats, along with one bright red down jacket. All she needed to wear in this kind of weather was a cheongsam. And Ai Yang stood in front of the wardrobe and after much hesitation, ultimately chose a blue-green cheongsam. The button loops of the cheongsam were wine red. The combination of blue and red didn't look abrupt, but rather harmonious. She wore a pair of silver-white high heels that revealed a little of her fair ankle and slender calves. Her long black hair was loosely plaited into a fishtail braid that hung over her left breast. A small clip, similar to a hairpin, was tucked behind her ear. As she walked, the short bead chain on the clip quivered, making it look especially pleasing. The cheongsam is a type of attire that is rather selective of its wearer. If slightly mishandled, it would make the wearer seem excessively mature, drab. Yet when worn by Ai Yang, one could see infinite vitality and beauty. A feast for the eyes. She was like an orchid blooming alone in a valley, capable of becoming a beautiful landscape wherever she went. Just as Ai Yang finished changing her clothes, Ai Kuihua's voice came from the courtyard. Yang Yang, are you ready? Yanran is here. I'm ready, and Ai Yang walked out of the room. Ah, Yang Yang, you look so beautiful. Even though this wasn't the first time seeing Ai Yang dressed in a cheongsam, each time, Ai Yang always impressed, radiating a unique beauty in each cheongsam she wore. Thank you, Ai Yang said with a smile. You're very beautiful too. I mean it, you're really beautiful. Li Yanran went over and held onto Ai Yang's wrist. Oh, how wonderful it would be if beautiful Ai Yang could become her sister-in-law and save the gene pool of the Li family. Li Yanran mused happily. The two greeted Ai Tsuehua, then left the Ai family home. Due to the poor roads in the village, Li Yanran's car could only be parked at the entrance of the village. The two walked to the village entrance. Li Yanran opened the door of the passenger side. Yang Yang, you sit next to me. Ai Yang was somewhat surprised. Yanran, you drove here yourself? In the 80s it was rare for women to drive. But then again, Li Yanran was from a wealthy family, so her being able to drive wasn't a rarity. Li Yanran nodded. Yes, I drove here myself. Ai Yang leaned in and slid into the car. The car that Li Yanran was driving was a well-known domestic brand, with all leather seats and even a radio installed inside. At that moment, the radio was broadcasting a famous martial arts novel. Not only could the radio broadcast novels, but it could also play music. Li Yanran turned to Ai Yang. Yang Yang, would you like to listen to some music? Sure. Ai Yang nodded. Li Yanran flipped the switch and a familiar song instantly began to play from the radio. It seems as if I've seen it in a dream, waves appear in my heart, casting aside worldly worries and grievances. This song, The Iron-Blooded Loyal Heart, was the theme song for The Legend of the Condor Heroes, starring Huang Rihua and Wang Meiling. The Legend of the Condor Heroes first aired in 1983, and in the years that followed, it became an unforgettable memory for an entire generation and an unparalleled classic on screen. This was too familiar a song and it made Ai Yang hum along subconsciously. Her voice was clear and melodious, possessing an indescribable charm when humming Cantonese songs. Li Yanran exclaimed in surprise, Yang Yang, you can actually sing The Iron-Blooded Loyal Heart. The Iron-Blooded Loyal Heart was in Cantonese, which Li Yanran had wanted to learn for some time. Cantonese was rather difficult, and she hadn't yet mastered it. Ai Yang smiled. I can sing a bit. Li Yanran said enviously, Yang Yang, you're too amazing. Ai Yang replied, if you want to learn it, I can share a little trick with you. Yes, tell me. Ai Yang went on, initially you don't need to focus on nailing every single word and sound. Just try to incorporate a bit of Cantonese flavor into your native Mandarin. Then listen more, sing more. If all else fails, you can remember the phonetic equivalents of the lyrics. Upon hearing this, Li Yanran's eyes lit up. Right? Why didn't I think of that? I can remember the homophonic phrases. Yang Yang, you're too smart. Chapter 353, Handsome Counterattack Revealing the True Face of Li Xianxian_2. Ai Yang bashfully rubbed her nose and modestly said, just so. The Li family's residence was located right in the heart of the city. Traffic in Beijing at this time was still convenient with no traffic jams, so they quickly reached the Li family's villa. Yang Yang, we're here. All right. Ai Yang opened the car door and got out. Li Yanran led Ai Yang inside. The Li's house was decorated in a Western style, with plenty of modern touches seen throughout. The gathering was held in the back garden. By the time Li Yanran and Ai Yang arrived, The back garden was already filled with many people, men and women alike, laughing and chatting merrily. Li Yanran led Yang straight to Li Tingji. "Brother, let me introduce you to Yang, my best friend. Yang, this is my brother. Miss Li, you already know Yang, so there's no need for me to introduce you. Miss Anai, nice to meet you." A light of astonishment flashed in Li Tingzi's eyes as he extended his hand to Yang. "Mr. Li, nice to meet you." Yang reached out and shook his hand. As they shook hands, a small red string slipped from her sleeve. The dazzling red color was like a winter plum blossoming amidst the pure white snow, perfectly complementing her fastening buttons. It was extremely eye-catching. What a stunning woman. However, no matter how beautiful Yang was, he wouldn't be changing his affections since the person he loved the most was Li Xianxian. Li Xianxian was a very talented woman, while Yang, despite her beauty, seemed like nothing more than an attractive airhead. How could she compare to the talented Li Xianxian? Li Tingji did not take fancy over beautiful women who were empty inside. Maintaining a proper smile on her face, Li Xianxian greeted Yang. "Yang. Sister Xianxian, what a coincidence." Yang also smiled. Yang did not expect to see Li Xianxian here today, and Li Xianxian did not expect to bump into Yang at the Li residence. "Yes, what a coincidence indeed." Li Tingji asked in surprise, "Xianxian, you know Miss Anai?" Li Xianxian nodded. "I had met Yang at Granny Mo's house before. Yang is the divine doctor who cured Xiao Dai's illness." Having previously been put in her place by Yang, Li Xianxian wasn't about to make the same mistake. She was waiting for a perfect opportunity, one that could lead to Yang losing face. With so many people here today, it wouldn't be too hard to embarrass Yang. Li Tingji nodded and exclaimed, "Miss Anai is really amazing." Yang replied with a light smile, "Just fulfilling my duty as a doctor." Li Tingji was stunned. He did not expect Yang's response to be so indifferent as he thought Yang would seize the opportunity to boast about herself. However, Yang did not seem to have any intention of doing so. This girl seemed different from his initial impression of her. Yang, let me introduce you to some of my other friends," Li Yanran said. "All right." Yang nodded. Li Yanran led Yang to a group of young men and women. "Let me introduce you to everyone. This is my recently acquainted good friend Yang for short." "Nice to meet you, Yang. My name is Zhao Xiaoqi. Imfang Kai. You can just call me Kai. I grew up with Yanran. My name is Lin Xiaoyu, but everyone calls me Little Lin. You can call me that too, Yang. Imfang Ju. I'm Zhou Dajuan." Everyone was quite enthusiastic when greeting Yang. Yang was beautiful and had no conceit, making her popular among the crowd. Particularly among the young gentry, who couldn't tear their eyes away from her. Beauty was not rare in Sijio City, but a beauty like Yang, stunning inside and out, was indeed scarce. Not only was she beautiful, but she also had a great figure. Covered by her cheongsam, her waist was so slender that one might think it could snap at any moment. And yet, despite the body-hugging cheongsam, she did not seem the slightest bit provocative. Instead, she seemed even more pure and charming. She was as beautiful as if she had stepped right out of a painting capturing the beauty of Jiangnan's water towns. "Yang," Little Lin exclaimed in surprise, "how did you braid your hair? It's beautiful." Yang smiled and said, "This is called a fishtail braid. If you like it, I can braid your hair this way too." The fishtail braid was a style that only became popular in later years. In this era, people had yet to discover this kind of braiding, so everyone found it very novel when they saw Yang sporting one. Moreover, Yang had adorned the lengths of her fishtail braid with pearls, making it look very fresh. Chapter 354, Handsome Counterattack, revealing the true face of Li Xianxian _3. "Really?" "Yes." Yang was standing behind Lin, helping her style her hair into a fishbone braid. All girls love beauty. As Yang was braiding Lin's hair, a few privileged young ladies crowded around her, hoping to learn the skill. Yang was not stingy with sharing her expertise. She was explaining in detail while braiding, her face full of concentration, sunlight highlighting her with a warm, golden light. Typically, anyone capable of creating something as lovely as this fishbone braid would hoard their expertise to themselves. However, Yang didn't. She explained earnestly and everyone quickly picked up the method from her. She was more than glad to share beautiful things with others. So, all of them grew to like Yang even more after this episode. After the fishbone braiding lesson, the girls began a discussion about Yang's perfect skin. "Yang, your skin is flawless. What skincare products do you use? I use Ice Silk Skin. And Yang even dropped a little advertisement for the product. Ice Silk Skin? I think I've heard of that product. I also use Ice Silk Skin. Their products are genuinely good. It's just that their anti-wrinkle cream and whitening cream sell out pretty fast, so it's an advantage if you order them in advance. You don't just need to order in advance, you must do it a few months ahead. I'm currently using their aloe vera range. It's rather great, even better than the foreign imports. I've been trying to pre-order for quite some time now. Is Ice Silk Skin really that good? Definitely. Then I'll also buy a set and try it. Just the name Ice Silk Skin sounds pretty high-end. There was a faint shimmer in Yang's eyes. It seemed like Ice Silk Skin had successfully made its mark within the glamorous circles. It was perhaps time to introduce a membership system. Membership marketing is precision marketing fueled by designing detailed business plans. You refine every aspect of your work to perfection in order to meet higher targets, leading to constant growth in business benefits and expansion. Yang believed that someday, Ice Silk Skin would make its name on the international stage. Li Xianxian watched everything unfold, a flash of dark light flickering in her eyes. Before Yang arrived, she was the most popular person in the circle. But now, her radiant glory had been completely overshadowed by Yang. What a cunning little minx. Since it was a social gathering, there were various entertainment facilities set up in the garden. Li Xianxian's gaze fell on the dartboard nearby. At this time, dart games had only just become fashionable among the elite. There were not many who were actually skilled at it, but Li Xianxian just happened to have practiced it before. Li Xianxian walked up to the dartboard, picked up a dart, and standing about 20 meters away, elegantly flung the dart. Snap! The dart hit right on the 8th ring. Given that the 10th ring is the best score, an 8 is an impressive achievement. Moreover, Li Xianxian is a girl, whereas darts is usually seen as a more masculine game. Wow! Xianxian, that's amazing. Xianxian, you're good. A heroine amongst women. Li Ting looked at Li Xianxian, admiration burning in his eyes. Li Xianxian was truly amazing, not only in possessing a wealth of knowledge, but she also played darts so well. Li Xianxian modestly said, "It's just a little trick, it's nothing big. Speaking of darts, Yang is definitely much better than me. After all, she's a talented and versatile woman." Yang raised an eyebrow slightly. "Sister Xianxian, you overestimate me. How can a country bumpkin like me know how to play such a game?" Exactly. How could a country bumpkin like Yang know how to play it? Amusement sparkled in Li Xianxian's eyes as she said with a smile, "You're just too modest, Yang." Guyi, who was close to Li Xianxian, approached the two of them, saying gently, "Xianxian, you and Yang stop being so humble. Why not have a competition between you two? Then we can see who is better." Birds of a feather flocked together. Guyi, just like Li Xianxian, was filled with envious hatred towards anyone more attractive than her. "Would I have the honor of competing with you, Yang?" Li Xianxian looked up at Yang. Together, the two of them pushed Yang into the spotlight. If she refused now, it would certainly leave a poor impression. The pair obviously wanted to make her look foolish. Yang gave a light smile. "Since Sister Xianxian has cordially invited me, it would be impolite to decline. Sister Xianxian, after you." Li Xianxian nodded and picked up a dart. Chapter 355. Handsome counterattack revealing the true face of Li Xianxian_4. Wait a minute. Guyi reached out to stop Li Xianxian. Li Xianxian turned her eyes to Guyi. "What is it, Yi?" Guyi continued. "Since it's a competition, we should set up the rules and stakes for the game. Otherwise it wouldn't be fun." "Stakes?" Li Xianxian curiously asked. "What do you think the stakes should be, Yi?" Guyi replied with a laugh. "The bigger the stakes, the more fun it'll be. I just don't know if Miss Anai is brave enough to play." As she said this, Guyi turned her gaze towards Yang, with undisguised provocation in her eyes. Yang looked unperturbed. "Miss Gu, just say what you want. As long as Sister Xianxian agrees, I have no objections." Li Xianxian said, "Go ahead, Yi. I'm willing to follow the rules of the game." Guyi carried on. "How about the loser performs a striptease to liven up the atmosphere?" "Striptease?" With so many people present, performing a striptease would make it impossible to hold one's head high again. Such a dare was like grinding the opponent's dignity on the floor. Interesting. Yang's lips slightly curved up. "Guyi," Li Yanran said with a slight frown, stepping forward, "it's just a darts game, do we really need such outrageous stakes?" Li Yanran was a little worried for Yang. After all, not many people know how to play darts at this time and Li Xianxian is a master. She didn't want Anai Yang to be at a disadvantage. Gu Yi laughed and said, Yanran and Ai Yang and Xian Xian, the people involved aren't saying much. This sentence indirectly told Li Yanran to mind her own business. Just as Li Yanran was about to retort, she was gently pulled by Anai Yang, who signaled her not to worry. Seeing her like this, Li Yanran silently heaved a sigh of relief. Gu Yi continued, the stakes are clear, let me declare the rules now. Miss Anai and Xian Xian, you each get 3 darts. The person with the highest score wins. Li Xianxian smiled at Anai Yang and said softly, since you have no objections Yang Yang to the stakes and rules, he'll start first. All right. Anai Yang nodded. Li Xianxian picked up a dart and threw it swiftly. The black dart hit directly into the 9th ring. Moreover, the dart stuck between the boundary lines of the 9th and 10th rings, almost into the 10th ring. Without waiting for the crowd to react, Li Xianxian picked up the 2nd dart. This time the dart astonishingly hit the 10th ring. The 10th ring. The highest score on the dartboard. Even the men at the scene who had practiced darts probably couldn't hit the 10th ring. Li Xianxian looked at the surprised eyes of the crowd, and an imperceptible proud look flashed in her eyes as she picked up the 3rd dart. This one also hit the 10th ring. In total it was 29 points. That was incredible. There was a burst of applause from the crowd. Even some professional players probably couldn't achieve 29 points. No one expected Li Xianxian to have such skills. I'm sorry if I've made a fool of myself, Li Xianxian modestly responded. Xianxian, I really admire you. Gu Yi approached Li Xianxian. Did you underperform with your first dart? Li Xianxian nodded. I haven't played for a long time, my hand's a bit rusty. Someone at the side exclaimed, a rusty throw got the 9th ring, Xianxian, you're the first girl who's made me entirely admire. Li Xianxian smiled and said, it's just a little trick, you're too kind, Zhou. If her rusty throw got the 9th ring, how many rings could Anai Yang get if she gives it her all? At this moment, the more Li Xianxian downplays her skills, the more it underscores Anai Yang's incompetence. Striptease, huh? The very thought of it felt exhilarating. Miss Anai, what kind of striptease do you plan to present to everyone? Gu Yi looked at Anai Yang rhetorically. Anai Yang kept a calm face. The game has not been decided yet. What are you so worried about, Miss Gu? I'm not worried, Gu Yi responded with a ridiculing look, as long as Miss Anai doesn't play dirty when the time comes and accept her loss. Anai Yang flashed a charming smile. Honesty is the way of heaven, a gentleman keeps his word. She spoke with such dignity, even Li Ting looked at Anai Yang at this moment. It seems that Anai Yang is not the incompetent beauty as he imagined, she has some cultural foundation, just not as talented as Li Xianxian. Gu Yi laughed and said, I feel reassured with Miss N's words. Whoever goes back on their word after the game, is a contemptible person who loses face. Chapter 356, Handsome Counterattack revealing the true face of Li Xianxian _5. Naturally. Anai Yang nodded. No one present thought Anai Yang would win. After all, Li Xianxian scored 29 points. Unless Anai Yang could score 30 points. Although Anai Yang was beautiful, beauty didn't equate to skill. Could she score 30 points? Anai Yang casually picked up 3 darts, half-closed her eyes, aimed at the bullseye, lightly flicked her left hand, and all 3 darts flew out. Her actions were clean and sharp, without a hint of messiness. All 3 of them. She actually threw all 3 at once? Could all 3 hit the dartboard at once? Does she even know how to play darts? Anai Yang was about to embarrass herself, she would become the laughingstock of the venue. A triumphant glimmer flashed momentarily across Li Xianxian's eyes. But the next second, something unbelievable happened. All 3 darts hit the 10-ring score. And they hit the bullseye. All 3 darts were tightly clustered together. This was beyond impressive. Scary. It's really too scary. Li Xianxian's face turned deathly pale. What? How could this be possible? How could Anai Yang, a simple country girl, have such talent? Xianxian, Li Yanran gloated, what kind of sultry dance are you preparing to perform for us? A sultry dance? How could she dance that kind of dance? Gu Yi stood up and said, this round doesn't count. No one could hit the bullseye with all 3 darts at once. This must be a coincidence. Li Yanran retorted, Gu Yi, your reasoning seems a bit far-fetched, don't you think? You say it's a coincidence, then why don't you go ahead and show us a coincidence of your own? If you can't stand to lose, then don't play. Gu Yi retorted, if it's not a coincidence, then Miss Anai, please demonstrate for us again. She refused to believe that Anai Yang could be so lucky a second time. Upon hearing this, everyone around nodded in agreement. Hitting the bullseye with 3 darts at once? It truly was a bit unbelievable and could indeed be mere coincidence. Gui, you're just stirring up trouble. Li Yanran was furious. A sense of relief washed over Li Xiangxian's face. It was just a coincidence, she didn't need to panic. In the end, the loser would still be An Yang. An Yang gave a light smile, reached out to pick up 3 darts. Then please watch closely, Miss Gu. Since everyone thought it was a coincidence, she would prove herself with her skills. With those words, she raised her hand. Swish, swish, swish. All 3 darts hit the bullseye again. Everyone fell completely silent. The area was absolutely quiet, nobody said a word. An Yang continued, if Miss Gu still thinks it's a coincidence, then how about this? After she spoke, An Yang threw another 3 darts. And this time she threw them with her back facing the dartboard. Her pose was scarily cool. What was even scarier was that all 3 darts still hit the bullseye. Even Li Ting, standing beside her, was dumbfounded. He thought that Li Xianxian was the most impressive girl he had ever met, but he never ever thought that, in this world, there was someone who could beat Li Xianxian. Yang, you're so good. Li Yanran walked over and hugged An Yang's arm. I guess some people have no words left now. How is this possible? Gui exclaimed in disbelief. Did you cheat? How could you cheat at darts? There were so many people watching, Gui's accusation was absurd. An Yang smiled faintly, the corners of her mouth lifted slightly. Only a dog would go back on its word, so. Miss Gu, don't be a dog. Her tone was gentle but resolute, effectively reprimanding both Gui and Li Xianxian without a single swear word. Xianxian, it's time for you to keep your end of the bet. Li Yanran turned to look at Li Xianxian. Li Xiangxian's face was ghostly pale. What was she supposed to do? How could she dance in such a humiliating way? If she danced, she would completely lose face. Tingji, Li Xianxian looked up at Li Ting, her eyes full of mist. Anyone who saw her in such a pitiful state would instantly feel sympathetic. Seeing her like that, Li Ting felt as if his heart was being squeezed. He could barely breathe from heartache. Although Li Xianxian had lost, she wasn't the one at fault. The one in the wrong was Gui. Gui should never have suggested such an outrageous bet. Xianxian, don't worry. Li Ting whispered comforting words to Li Xianxian, then he turned to Li Yanran. Yanran, you're not young anymore. How could you join in the foolish clamor? Chapter 357, Handsome Counterattack, revealing the true face of Li Xianxian 6. Li Yanran said, I'm not stirring up trouble for no reason. This is a bet, since Xianxian agreed to it, she should fulfill it as promised. Li Xianxian lowered her head, her hands tightly clutching the corners of her dress, embarrassed in a way she hadn't been since that incident with the Mo family. Everyone's gazes cut into her like knives, every look was like a torture. An Yang. That horrible An Yang was to blame for all of this. It looks like this malicious woman couldn't be allowed to stay. As long as this woman was around, she couldn't get her head up high. Yanran, enough of your antics. Li Tingzi's voice suddenly turned stern. An Yang laughed and spoke. Yanran, in this world just as there are gentlemen, naturally there are also villains. We should be broad-minded and not bicker with untrustworthy people, right? If someone wants to commit such lowly behavior, An Yang would allow it. Whether she dances or not, Li Xianxian would lose face today either way. Hearing this, Li Yanran laughed lightly. Yang, you're right, why do we bother with petty people? Li Xianxian bit her lip, raised her head to look at Li Tingji and said with a pale face, Tingji, I'm feeling a bit unwell, I'm going home early. Li Tingji said in a worried tone, I'll send you home. No need, I want to be alone for a while. After saying this, Li Xianxian turned around and left directly. Li Tingji walked up to Li Yanran and said angrily, Yanran, do you realize that you went too far just now? Xianxian is our guest, look at what you've reduced her to. Since An Yang was a guest, Li Tingji couldn't directly point fingers at her, so he indirectly criticized his own younger sister instead. How have I gone too far? I was just abiding by the bet. Li Yanran said, Brother. The one who's being unreasonable is you. You know that Li Xianxian is a guest, but Yang is also a guest who I invited. Li Tingji choked up, anyway, you're not allowed to treat Xianxian like this in the future. Li Yanran got tired of dealing with her confused elder brother and pulling An Yang aside she walked away. Yang, let's go over here. The two sat in front of a small flower bed, where Li Yanran began to tell An Yang about the past between Li Xianxian and Li Tingji. My brother is a man who values substance. The reason he is so protective of Li Xianxian is because of her talent. Although Li Xiangxian's character is questionable, she is indeed talented. I remember she wrote a poem called Mountain Moon that was particularly good. Mountain Moon? And I Yang raised an eyebrow slightly. Yanran, do you remember the content? Li Yanran thought for a moment, then said, I once came by moonlight solely because you were in the mountains. And I Yang continued, the mountain breeze brushes against my hair, my neck, and my bare shoulders. The moonlight dresses me in radiant garments. The moonlight dresses me in radiant garments. Just as Li Tingji happened to be passing by, he was surprised. Miss Anai, you also appreciate Xiangxian's poetry? Li Yanran looked at Anai Yang in shock as well. Anai Yang laughed and said, Li Xiangxian's poem? When did this poem become Li Xiangxian's? If I remember correctly, this is clearly Shi Murong's poem. In Anai Yang's previous life, she clearly remembered Shi Murong's existence, and that Shi Murong had been famous all over China in 81, but in this life, there was no news about Shi Murong at all. It is unclear whether this is due to the butterfly effect brought about by reincarnation. However, it was disgusting that Li Xianxian blatantly claimed others' work for her own. Nonsense. Li Tingzi's face changed. Miss and I, even if you have an issue with Xianxian, there's no need for you to insult her like this. Do you know how important her reputation is to a girl? Anai Yang looked indifferent and continued, Li Xianxian told you that she wrote Mountain Moon, but did she also tell you that Mountain Moon was selected from a poetry collection named 7 Miles Sent, which not only contains Mountain Moon but many other famous poems? And Mountain Moon does not end at the moonlight dresses me in radiant garments, there's another part following it. The reason Li Xianxian didn't write the following part was likely because she only read the first half of Mountain Moon. Always ready to fan the flames, Li Yanran asked, Yang, what's the latter part about? And I Yang continued, new greenery appears in the forest just like my youthful appearance. Youth is transparent like strong liquor, drinkable, able to be drained, able to part ways, but eventually how many things we two have exchanged as the stars shifted. Li Tingzi's face grew increasingly dark, for he had never heard Li Xianxian recite this last part. Could Li Xianxian actually have plagiarized? Li Yanran shook her head. Tut tut, Li Xianxian is such a hypocrite. Does such a thing. Shameless. Li Tingji couldn't accept this blow and subconsciously defended Li Xianxian. There must be some misunderstanding. Mr. Li is a smart man, whether there is a misunderstanding or not, you should be clear in your heart. And I Yang added it was better to leave things unsaid here, otherwise it could backfire. Li Tingji stumbled away from the back garden. After Li Xianxian left the Li family, she headed to a public phone booth. Mother. The coldness in Li Xiangxian's voice coming through the phone gave Li Shu a shudder. She dashed, Xianxian, what happened? Li Shu stuttered in fear. Ever since Ni Yang left Dam Village, Li Shu had been unable to eat or sleep properly, afraid that Li Xianxian would discover the truth. Did Mu Yang leave Dam Village? No, Li Shu wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. How long are you going to keep lying to me? What did I tell you? Why did you let her leave Dam Village? Li Shu hastily explained, Xianxian, listen to me. It's not what you think, I really tried my best, but you need to understand that it's difficult to go against the will of others. Li Shu recounted the events that had happened in Dam Village to Li Xianxian. After hearing the events, Li Xianxian narrowed her eyes. She is quite capable. She even managed to enlist the help of a city official. Li Xianxian continued, Mother, do you want to live a good life in the city? Xianxian. Li Shu exclaimed joyfully, are you finally going to bring me to the city to live a good life? Mother, now you have more than just one daughter. Li Shu furrowed her eyebrows. Xianxian, what are you talking about? Apart from you, how many daughters could I have? Li Xianxian said, didn't you already marry Mu Jinbao? Then Mu Yang is also your half-daughter. As your daughter, she should fulfill her obligation of supporting her parents and elders. Mother, Mu Yang is now doing well in the city, she has opened 4 noodle restaurants and has become quite wealthy. Wealthy? Li Shu's eyes lit up immediately. She didn't expect that little wretch Mu Yang to now have such ability. It seems that she was going to live the life of a rich wife in the future. The thought of this brought Li Shu much excitement. Li Xianxian continued, Mother, you don't need me to teach you what to do, right? No, Li Shu laughed. Xianxian, rest assured, this time I promise not to disappoint you. Chapter 358, Find Sun Shiwu, pay back tooth for tooth, take it all as it is. _1 Li Xianxian gave a few more instructions then said, Mum, you guys should set off as soon as possible. It's better to do this sooner rather than later. Once you get to Beijing, I'll arrange for someone to meet you. Okay. Li Shu hesitated for a moment then asked, Xianxian, can I see you this time? Ever since the incident 3 years ago, The mother and daughter hadn't seen each other in person. Their only contact over the years had been through phone calls and telegrams. For anything important, Li Xianxian would notify Li Shu over the phone. And Li Xianxian never used a landline. Li Xianxian frowned slightly, her stance firm as she said, "No. But I miss you a lot." "Mum, do you want to kill me?" Li Xianxian retorted. "Of course not. Xianxian, why are you talking nonsense?" Li Xianxian continued, "Since you don't want to kill me, don't ever mention this again." Li Shu sighed, "Xianxian, we can't never meet for the rest of our lives, can we?" Li Xianxian replied, "When it's time to meet, we'll meet. Mum, your most important task now is to get to Beijing as soon as possible." "All right, I understand. You take care of yourself in Beijing." After hanging up the phone, Li Shu returned to the Mu family. The Mu family house was the same as before, 3 very low mud huts. The 2 weather-beaten gates were filled with a sense of vicissitudes, as if they could be broken by a gust of wind. The thought of leaving this rundown place and living the good life in the city filled Li Shu with elation. Old Lady Mu was in the courtyard, doting on her grandson. "My precious little darling. Would you give Grandma a smile?" The nearly 7-month-old baby was chubby, with bubbles of snot on his face. His neck and wrists were piled with fat folds, but his eyes lacked the brightness that a child his age should have, appearing hollow and listless. But nobody in the Mu family noticed this abnormality, treating him as their apple of their eye. After all, he was the Mu family's only grandson. "Mum, I have great news." Li Shu entered the courtyard from outside. "What's the big news?" Old Lady Mu looked up at Li Shu. "Mum," Li Shu continued, "our Yang is doing exceptionally well now." Old Lady Mu snorted coldly. What great achievements could that ungrateful wretch possibly have? She was just a burden. Not even worth half of her golden grandson. Li Shu laughed and said, "I heard from my relatives in the city that Yang is now running 4 shops there, and business is booming. She's now a 10,000 yuan household. Isn't that great news? 10,000 yuan household. In this era, being a 10,000 yuan household was a very big deal. Often you couldn't find one in 10 villages." Upon hearing this, Old Lady Mu asked in surprise, "That wretch is really a 10,000 yuan household now?" "Indeed," responded Li Shu, "my relative saw it with his own eyes." "Are you telling me he would lie to me?" "Mum, our Mu family has finally produced a capable person. It's just a shame that Cuehua has already divorced Jinbao. Otherwise, you and Jinbao could have enjoyed her success too." At the end of her words, Li Shu sighed deeply. Old Lady Mu squinted her eyes. "Divorced? Even if she's divorced, she's still part of our Mu family. Where is that wretched girl now?" Yang is in Beijing now," Li Shu answered. Old Lady Mu then said, "Ah Shu, go pack your things. We're going to Beijing tonight." Now that Yang is a 10,000 yuan household, of course they have to go to Beijing immediately. After all, Yang's money is the Mu family's money. If they don't go quickly, what if Cuehua hooks up with some rogue and gives all the money to him? The Mu family's money should be under her control. It can't be stolen by some rogue. "Mum," Li Shu hesitated, then said, "There's something else I'd like to tell you, but you'll need to prepare yourself." "Tell me." Li Shu continued, "My relative told me that Yang has changed her surname. She now uses her mother's surname and I. Do you think she'll still recognize us if we go to Beijing now?" "A name change? How dare that wretch change her surname?" Old Lady Mu angrily stood up, her eyes glaring. That ungrateful little wretch has really gone too far. She was born a Mu, and even in death shall be a Mu. Just wait. When I get to Beijing, I'll make her change her surname back. I'm her grandmother, you're her mother. Yaozong is her blood brother, she doesn't get to decide whether to acknowledge us or not. Chapter 359. Find Sun Sherwu, an eye for an eye, take it all as listed. _2. Yang is nothing but part of the Mu family. What right does she have to deny us? As for this, the old Madame Mu didn't worry at all. Li Shu pretended to sigh, "But I am still a little worried." Mrs. Mu followed with, "Don't worry. I am her grandmother, she is not obliged to disobey me." Li Shu nodded, "Then I'll go pack now." Go ahead. I will go to call Jinbao back." Mu Jinbao was working in the fields. When he heard about this, he was overjoyed. He was so excited that he didn't even know his last name anymore. He had never dreamed that he could become a man of tens of thousands in his lifetime. Didn't expect this little wretch to be so capable. Old Madame Mu huffed, "What skill does a loss-making wench have? It's all because our old Mu family's ancestral grave is well located and can emit green smoke. Otherwise, the loss-making girl probably would have starved to death outside. Now, she doesn't know how to be thankful and she even dared to change her surname. This time, I must give her a good lesson. Otherwise, this little wretch might even move heaven and earth. Mu Jinbao agreed, Mom, you are right. She needs to be disciplined. Li Shu said, Mom, how should we split those 4 shops? I heard from my relatives that the shops have a good business and can make several thousand yuan a day. Several thousand a day? Upon hearing this, lustful lights appeared in the eyes of both Mu Jinbao and Mrs. Mu. Let me think about it, said old Madame Mu, squinting her eyes, calculating. Let's divide it this way. Yaozong will get 2, I'll get 1, and you 2 will get 1. However, Yaozong is still young and his shop will be managed by me for now. Old Mrs. Mu was a cunning woman herself. After all, Li Shu was an outsider. Mu Jinbao was a simple-minded honest man. Naturally too much couldn't be given to Li Shu. What if Li Shu took the money earned from the shop and secretly nourished another man outside? All the money in their family belonged to Mu Yaozong. Okay, I have no objections. Although Lady Mu only gave her 1 shop. But sooner or later, those other 3 shops will also be hers. After all, Mu Yaozong was born from her womb. It's her womb which is creditworthy. Seeing that Li Shu had no objections, Mrs. Mu nodded in satisfaction. What the Mu family needed was such an obedient good daughter-in-law who could carry on the family line. Mom, there is something I don't know whether I should say or not. Li Shu hesitated to speak. Shu, you speak. Li Shu continued, I think we should find a suitor for Yang Yang during our trip and marry her off early, so that she won't covet our family's money. After all, our Mu family's money shouldn't fall into the hands of outsiders. Li Shu had already made arrangements with Li Xianxian. While introducing suitors to Nai Yang, she would directly sell Nai Yang to human traffickers. To let her have no place to be buried. All the better to get her out of Li Xianxian's way. Mrs. Mu nodded, Shu, what you said makes sense. Li Shu expressed her concern, it makes sense indeed, but what if Yang Yang refuses? Didn't my distant relative get scared off by her last time? Mrs. Mu shouted angrily, if that little wench dare to refuse, well, just lock her up. Not giving her any food until she agrees. The old ginger is always spicier. She didn't believe that little wench Nai Yang could be tougher than her. Then what about Sister Tsuehua? Li Shu continued. Nai Tsuehua? Mrs. Mu said with a disgusted face, she is just a shoe that nobody wants. She doesn't deserve to live in our Mu family. Once we arrive at Beijing, I will let her roll as far as possible. Mom, is it a bit too harsh for us to do this to Sister Tsuehua? Li Shu said, after all, Yang Yang is her daughter no matter what. Mrs. Mu said, Mu Yang is our Mu family seed, what does she have to do with that cheap bitch? If it hadn't been for that worthless woman who can't have sons, maybe our Mu family would be prosperous by now. That bitch Mu Yang secretly lives a good life outside while making our whole family living in the country suffer hardships. Shu, you are just too kind to speak for them. Old Mrs. Mu had made her decision. This time after they arrived in Beijing, she would definitely make Nai Yang understand that as a grandmother she wasn't to be trifled with. Chapter 360, Find Sun Sherwu, an eye for an eye, take it all as per the list. _3. Or else, Nai Yang might believe that her grandma was just a papier-mâché figure. Mrs. Mu, whenever she thinks of Nai Tsuehua and her daughter using Mu family's money to live freely and comfortably, was getting so mad that her liver hurt. The family of 5 took all their belongings and went to the county city overnight, but since it was late when they arrived, the train tickets to Beijing were only available 3 days later. So they had no choice but to buy these tickets. Nai Yang had recently been busy with the customized member system of Ice Skin and Jade Bone. She wasn't aware that the people from the Mu family were on their way here to Beijing. Yang Yang, someone is looking for you. Nai Kuihua's voice came from the yard. Someone is looking for her? Who could it be? Nai Yang put down her pen and walked toward the yard. Mr. Xiaozhou? Seeing the man that came, Nai Yang was slightly surprised. Miss Nai. Being a detective, Xiaozhou wouldn't visit her for no reason. Nai Yang chuckled and said, Mr. Xiaozhou, let me introduce you. This is my mom. Mom, this is my friend Mr. Xiaozhou. To Xiaoza's surprise, Nai Yang took the initiative to introduce him to her mom as her friend. Indeed, a great fortune in life is becoming friends with a beauty like Nai Yang. Xiaozhou cordially greeted, good to see you, auntie. You can just call me Xiaozhou. Nai Tsuehua nodded, nice to meet you, Xiaozhou. Yang Yang, lead Xiaozhou to take a seat inside. Okay. Mr. Xiaozhou, this way. Xiaozhou followed Nai Yang to the living room. Take a seat, Mr. Xiaozhou. I'll make some tea. Xiaozhou somewhat embarrassedly replied, Miss and you don't have to be so polite. I only need to say a few words and then he'll leave. And Yang smilingly answered, It's no big deal, just a cup of tea. It wasn't long before Yang came over with a cup of freshly brewed tea. Xiaozhou took a sip of the tea, originally thinking it was just an ordinary cup of green tea. Unexpectedly, it was surprisingly good. This tea was incredibly aromatic. Miss and where did you buy this tea? And Yang replied, I roasted it myself. Miss and you are truly remarkable. Xiaozhou put down his teacup, then added, By the way, Miss and the reason for my visit is to discuss something with you. Although it was not a significant matter, Xiaozhou believed it would indeed be of considerable importance to Yang. Please go ahead, Mr. Xiaozhou. Xiaozhou continued, Li Shu Mu family's Bao and their old lady are coming to Beijing. They will take a train tomorrow and will probably arrive in Beijing in 3 days. Since Yang had previously asked Xiaozhou to look into Li Shu's past, Xiaozhou had been keeping a close watch on Li Shu's movements. Actually, Xiaozhou was returning a favor to Yang. After all, Yang had done him a great favor last time. Yang's eyes slightly narrowed. She didn't expect that the Mu family would take the initiative to come to her doorstep. Without a doubt, this had Li Xiangxian's handprint all over it. What are you going to do now, Miss Yang replied calmly with a faint smile, Of course I will accept everything as is. Unknowingly, Xiaozhou seemed to see a touch of coldness from her smile. She didn't act like an 18-year-old girl at all, but rather like a seasoned woman who had seen it all. Even Xiaozhou, a well-experienced detective, couldn't help but admire her. Yang continued, Mr. Xiaozhou, this information is incredibly crucial to me. Thank you so much. Xiaozhou replied, Miss as you also said, we are friends. Friends should help each other out. If there's anything I can help you with in the future, feel free to tell me. Okay. Yang nodded, then added, My friends all call me Yang. You can call me that too, Mr. Xiaozhou. Yang was very willing to make friends with the detective, which was one of the reasons she offered to help Xiaozhou cure his insomnia. Xiaozhou chuckled and said, Yang, then you can just call me Xiaozhou. There's no reason for friends to call each other Mr. or Mississippi. Yang agreed without any pretense. Okay, Xiaozhou. Xiaozhou continued, Yang, now that everything has been clarified, I should go back. There's still work to do at the bureau. Yang stood up and said, Wait a moment, Xiaozhou. Xiaozhou halted, puzzled. Yang came back quickly, carrying a large glass jar full of tea leaves. Xiaozhou, you like tea, don't you? This is for you. This is too valuable, I cannot accept it. Such a big jar of tea leaves must have taken a long time to collect, not to mention the time to roast them. Chapter 361. Find Sun Shiwu, give him a taste of his own medicine, accept as per the list. _4. Xiaozhou was not an ignorant person. Yang said with a smile, It's all tea that I made myself, it can't compare with bought tea as long as you don't mind. It was then that Xiaozhou reached out to take it. Yang, you're too modest, your tea is much better than the bought one. Yang escorted Xiaozhou all the way to the village entrance. After going back home, she rode her bike to the city. She went to the vegetable market and bought some stewed meat and vegetables, then went to the store to buy 5 bottles of liquor, and then walked to number 18 Backstreet Lane. Number 18 Backstreet Lane was inhabited by a bunch of social misfits. Rarely would someone as young and beautiful as Yang set foot there. By this time, quite a few individuals with dubious intentions had emerged. A shady-looking delinquent, with a rub of his hands, sneakily followed Yang, attempting to grab her shoulder. At that moment Yang landed a perfect backspin kick. Bang! The person was harshly kicked to the ground, so much so that he didn't even have the strength to crawl up. The sound of gasps filled the air, and no one else dared to come forward. Yang, unobstructed, reached Sun Shiwu's residence. The door was closed. While knocking on the door, Yang called out, Uncle Shiwu, are you inside? It was quite a while before Sun Shiwu creaked open the door, grumbling, Who is it so early in the morning? Recognizing that it was Yang, Sun Shiwu smiled from ear to ear, It's Yang. What brings you here? Come inside quickly. As Sun Shiwu led Yang into the room, he kicked the empty liquor bottles on the ground. My room is a mess, I hope you don't mind, Yang. Yang said with a smile, I don't mind. If Aunt Ashu were with you, it certainly wouldn't be this messy. Whenever Li Shu was mentioned, that cheap woman, Sun Shiwu's anger surged. He launched into a torrent of swearing. Sun Shiwu cleared the messy table a bit. Yang, have a seat. Thank you, Uncle Shiwu. and Yang put her things on the table. Uncle Sherwu, I brought some liquor and snacks. Sun Sherwu said somewhat embarrassedly, Yang, you've spent money on me again. And Yang chuckled, it's okay. You are my elder and I used to get along so well with Sister Dalian, so it's only right that I show respect to you. Sun Sherwu exclaimed, Yang, you are a good girl. Not like that disrespectful daughter. She no longer sees me as her father. Speaking of Sun Dalian, Sun Sherwu's eyes filled with venom again. As his words fell, Sun Sherwu continued, let's not talk about that damn girl. Bad luck. Today is a good day, let's have a drink. Sure. And Yang nodded, setting out the stewed meat and vegetables. Sun Sherwu went inside to bring 2 ceramic cups. Worried Yang might mind his cups, Sun Sherwu washed them several times, then disinfected them twice with hot water. Although Sun Sherwu was not a reputable man, he held great respect for Yang. For one, he was impressed by Yang's skills, and secondly, Yang treated him really well. She brought him food, drinks, and even gave him money to spend. Thank you, Uncle Sherwu. Yang stood up and accepted the cups with both hands. Sun Sherwu said, we two are like family, no need for formalities. As the drinks flowed freely, Yang added, Uncle Sherwu, living alone like this isn't right. Have you considered finding Aunt Ashu and Sister Dalian? Sun Sherwu furiously slammed his cup onto the table. Once unfaithful, forever useless. Once I find them, they'll pay. Yang picked up a peanut. Uncle Sherwu, you're being too harsh. There might be some kind of misunderstanding. Being together as a family is always better than being alone. Besides, Sister Dalian has always been smart. If I can keep myself fed in Beijing, Sister Dalian can definitely do better. Just wait to enjoy the blessings brought by Sister Dalian. I don't even know where they are now, how can I enjoy any blessings? Sun Sherwu said, taking a big gulp of liquor in frustration. Yang laughed and said, rest assured, Sister Dalian is filial. She won't abandon you. Sun Sherwu sighed. Why couldn't he have a good daughter like Yang? Uncle Sherwu, I drink to you. I believe that in the future, Sister Dalian will surely bring you happiness. Then let's hope your words come true. Yang, let me drink to you. In this manner, Sun Sherwu got progressively drunk, and finally he tried to make Yang his sworn sister, starting to address one another as siblings. Chapter 362. Find Sun Sherwu, retaliate tit for tat, take everything exactly as it is. _5. Little Yang, listen here, your good old brother has had an incredibly lousy life, meeting a damned whorish woman. Burp. One day I'm gonna kill them all. Burp. Since they aren't letting me be, then I won't let them be either. Burp. Crash. The drink's glass falls to the ground, and Sun Sherwu collapses on the table, unconscious. Uncle Sher? Yang spoke softly. Only Sun Sherwu's snoring was heard in response. Uncle Sher? Yang gently pushed Sun Sherwu. Drink, I can still drink. Sun Sherwu slurred. Yang slightly raised her eyebrows, took out a 100 yuan note from her pocket and placed it on the table, then turned and left. After leaving the back street, Yang made a round of the local noodle restaurant and milk tea shop. The businesses of the milk tea shop and the noodle restaurant were as booming as ever. She absolutely couldn't let Elder Mu and Mu Jinbao influence the business of her noodle restaurant and milk tea shop. Even if it did not cost much money, it still seemed exasperating. Yang narrowed her eyes. After leaving the noodle restaurant, Yang went to Xiaozi's detective agency. Xiaozhou was a detective, there's nothing he didn't know unless he didn't want to. About an hour later, Yang left the detective agency. On the other end, Li Shu, Mu Jinbao, and their group had already boarded a train. Perhaps the air inside the train was too stuffy. The moment Mu Yaozong got on the train, he began to cry incessantly. He made so much noise that none of the passengers in the carriage could sleep. Grandmother Mu cradled Mu Yaozong, her whole demeanor was incredibly affectionate. Grandmother's good grandchild, don't cry. Once we get to Beijing, your grandmother will take you to live in a mansion, eat delicious food and drink spicy things. Let's just endure it for a bit longer. In the face of her golden grandson, Grandmother Mu could not help but present him the best things. Li Shu and Mu Jinbao were in the back seat, discussing how to run the businesses once they reached Beijing. The two even planned what kind of house to buy. After all, the Mu family was rich now, naturally they couldn't live too poorly. Soon the day passed. When Sun Sherwu woke up again, it was already the next morning. When he saw 100 yuan on the table, his sleepy eyes instantly lit up. It was 100 yuan. With these 100 yuan, not only could he drink alcohol, but he could also buy cigarettes. Sun Sherwu quickly grabbed the 100 yuan and went out. He exited the back alley ready to eat a good meal out. Recently there was a noodle restaurant that seemed to sell very delicious noodles at a not expensive price. Sun Shiwu wanted to try their noodles. Just as he walked to the entrance of the restaurant, he saw a familiar figure. Was this Anai Yang? And all the customers referred to Anai Yang as the boss. So Anai Yang was the boss here? If Anai Yang was the boss here, then she was really stingy. She made so much money every day, yet she only gave him 100. Did she think he was a beggar? Sun Shiwu's eyes flickered. Perhaps he could pull off a big one. Didn't Anai Yang drink with him yesterday? This meant that Anai Yang had lowered her guard against him. Suddenly, Sun Shiwu had a better plan in mind. Sun Shiwu didn't even eat the noodles. He took the money and went to a small illegally operated shop in the back alley and bought a rope, a hallucinogenic drug, a dagger, and a mask. Once the preparations were complete, Sun Shiwu had a good sleep at home, planning to invite Anai Yang for a drink the next morning. Sun Shiwu didn't wake up until the next morning. Meanwhile, Li Shu, Mu Jinbao, and Grandma Mu had just descended the train with the golden child of the Mu family. All of them were visiting the city for the first time. As soon as they got off the train, they were amazed by Beijing's massive buildings. Li Shu exclaimed in surprise, "The city is so big, even larger than our village's cattle farm." Mu Jinbao said, "My God, that small car looks impressive." Grandmother Mu laughingly said, "Our family owns 4 stores now. We are surely making a lot of money. It's not a problem even if we want to buy a car or even 10. Mother is right," Li Shu said, looking very pleased. Grandmother Mu continued, "Shu, Beijing is so big, did your relative tell you where that slut Mu Yang opened our Mu family's stores?" Beijing was huge, and as they were all unfamiliar with the area, they feared it would be difficult to find Anai Yang. Chapter 363. Find Sun Shiwu, repay in kind, accept everything as listed. _6. We have no such worries. My relatives will come pick us up soon. Mom, you don't need to rush. Li Xianxian had everything arranged and now they just had to wait here. That's good, Shu, you always think ahead. Old Lady Mu nodded with relief. Anai Yang knew that Li Xianxian must have arranged for someone to pick up Li Shu and the others this morning. So he came early to the train station. From afar he saw Li Shu and Old Lady Mu standing among the crowd. The child in Old Lady Mu's arms must be Li Shu's son. The child had a dull look in his eyes, obviously not a normal child. Anai Yang subtly curved his lips, scanning the crowd, and finally noticed 2 figures looking around. Finally, he held up a large wooden sign with the 3 big characters Mu Jinbao written on it. What a pity. No one in the Mu family could read. Anai Yang slightly raised his brows, approached the 2. "Excuse me, comrades, are you here to pick up Mu Jinbao and Li Shu?" "Yes." One of them nodded. "Who are you?" Anai Yang smiled. "My surname is Anai. You comrades can call me Xiaoni. Mu Jinbao and Li Shu have already been picked up by their daughter, Mu Yang. I've already spoken with comrade Li Xianxian. You 2 don't have to worry." The 2 narrowed their eyes warily. "So, you really discussed this with Miss Li?" "Certainly." Anai Yang laughed. "Dear comrades, why would I lie to you? It's a shame you came here for nothing. By the way, here's the departure fare given by Mu Yang for you. The money's not much, you can use it to buy some cigarettes." With that, Anai Yang handed out 2 large notes. Upon seeing the money, their eyes sparkled. The Qianmen cigarettes only cost 50 cents a pack. 10 yuan can buy 20 packs. That's quite generous. The 2 took the money and left without questioning Anai Yang any further. Who would lie for 10 yuan anyway? It's not like they're stuffed. Seeing the 2 leave, Anai Yang went to the public telephone booth, made a call and said, "Hello." The voice on the other end was a slightly hoarse male voice. If someone were on the scene, they'd find that this voice belonged to one of the 2 men who just left. The person on the other end of the phone didn't notice anything unusual. "How's it going?" Anai Yang replied, "Rest assured, everything is well arranged." Upon hearing this, the heavy stone in Li Xianxian's heart finally landed. Since last night her right eyelid had been twitching non-stop, she thought something must go wrong. Apparently she was overthinking. After all, Anai Yang couldn't predict the future. How could anything go wrong? After hanging up the phone, Li Xianxian poured herself a glass of red wine to celebrate. Now she just had to calmly wait for Anai Yang to be sold to the human traffickers. From then on, no one would stand in her way. She had also sent her work to the newspaper agency. Twin joys have come her way recently. The more Li Xianxian thought about it, the happier she became. After Sun Shiwu had prepared the meal and drinks, he locked the door and headed towards the noodle restaurant. From afar, he saw Anai Yang rushing as if she had run into some trouble. Yang, what's wrong? Why are you so flustered? Sun Shiwu acted concerned and approached her. Anai Yang's face looked unpleasant. Uncle 15, it's good that you're here. I have something to tell you. Sun Shiwu said, what is it, Yang? As long as Uncle 15 can get it done, I won't hesitate even if I have to go through fire and water. Anai Yang stuttered, seemingly unable to spit it out. Yang, what can't you say to Uncle 15? Sun Shiwu blinked and suggested, why don't you come to Uncle 15's house? We'll wine and dine and have a chat. Okay. Anai Yang nodded, followed Sun Shiwu to his house. Sun Shiwu warmly invited Anai Yang to sit down. Anai Yang was no fool, she could tell that Sun Shiwu's warmth had turned sour. Her eyes swept across the room, noticing the ropes in the corner and the dagger hidden under the bed. She understood everything. Like father, like daughter. Both Sun Shiwu and Li Xianxian were ungrateful wolves that could never be tamed. Yang, have a drink? Sun Shiwu poured a cup of wine for Anai Yang. The intense aroma of wine filled the air, mixed with a slight odd smell. Seemingly there's something wrong with this wine. Thank you, Uncle 15. Anai Yang raised the cup, continuing, Uncle 15, I think I saw Aunt Ashu just now. Really? Sun Shiwu was so excited that he even dropped his cup. Where did you see her? Yes. Anai Yang nodded, looking a bit embarrassed. But Uncle 15, you should prepare yourself because Aunt Ashu seems to what? Yang, just say it. How should I say this? Anai Yang frowned, appearing at a loss for words. Yang, just say it. Sun Shiwu was getting anxious. Anai Yang let out a sigh and continued, Aunt Ashu has changed a lot. She was with a man, even holding a child in her arms. They were laughing and talking as if they are a family. That wretch. She dares to cuckold me. Sun Shiwu's anger instantly rose to its peak. Anai Yang hastily put down the cup, soothing, maybe I saw it wrong, Uncle 15, don't rush to get angry. People tend to make mistakes when they are impulsive. Yang, Sun Shiwu slammed the table and jumped up, his eyes red with rage. Tell me where that wretch and her lover are now. Uncle 15, may I ask you a question? Anai Yang continued. Speak. Anai Yang went on, have you and Aunt Ashu got a marriage certificate? In the rural areas of the 80s, men and women typically marry with a banquet. Few have marriage certificates. Sun Shiwu shook his head, no. Anai Yang frowned slightly, if there was a marriage certificate, your relationship with Aunt Ashu would be legally protected. If she really messes around, she'd be severely punished by law. If not, it would be hard to deal with. If this gets out, you'd be at a disadvantage. From her appearance, it seems like she has already obtained a marriage certificate with that man, otherwise she wouldn't be on a train. A train station, huh? They'll go find that wretch and her man. Sun Shiwu stormed out. Chapter 364. Sun Shiwu's Revenge, Second Update, _1, Uncle 15. Anai Yang caught up with Sun Shiwu's pace. You need to calm down. Having been cuckolded, how could Sun Shiwu calm down now? I'm going to kill those adulterous bastards right now. Anai Yang tried to dissuade him. Uncle 15, killing is illegal. You mustn't do anything stupid. Sun Shiwu replied without turning his head. Worst case, we each die. After 18 years, it'll be a new man again. Anai Yang stood there, watching Sun Shiwu's retreating figure. A faint curve danced at the corner of her lips, her dimples slightly visible. The warm yellow sunlight seemed to drape a mysterious veil over her. Evil grinds itself. Let Sun Shiwu and the despicable people from the Mu family rip each other apart. That's just perfect. Next, she simply needs to watch the dog fight from afar. This show definitely wouldn't disappoint her. Train station. It was already past 10 in the morning. The old lady from the Mu family was waiting anxiously, growing more and more impatient. Ashu, when will your relatives arrive? Li Shu was also quite anxious. Perhaps they have been delayed, mother, let's wait a bit more. Mu Jinbao suggested, there's a phone booth across the street. Ashu, why don't you give them a call? Li Shu wanted to call Li Xianxian, but she didn't have her number. My relative doesn't have a telephone at home. She always contacts me from a public phone. Mu Jinbao frowned. What should we do then? We can't just keep waiting. Continuing to wait indeed wasn't a solution. Li Shu thought for a moment, then said, why don't we settle down in a guest house for now? Madame Mu slightly frowned. We're already home. Why waste the money? Let's wait a bit more. Li Shu laughed. Mother, have you forgotten we're a family of 10,000 yuan now? Besides, Yaozong is tired. It doesn't matter if we adults suffer a bit more, we can't make the child suffer. Concerning her great-grandson, the old lady from the Mu family nodded, then let's find a guest house. When Sun Sherwu got to the station, the four of the Mu family were just crossing the street towards him. They were all talking and laughing, presenting quite a warm picture. This scene deeply stung Sun Sherwu. His face turned the color of pig's liver in an instant. A sense of humiliation enveloped his heart. That damned woman. She really had a bastard child with someone else. Shameful. So shameful. She's thoroughly discredited the Sun family. Today he was going to rid the Sun family of this disgrace. If he didn't avenge this marital affair, what kind of man would he be? Sun Sherwu turned around and entered a nearby shop. When he came out again, he had a kitchen knife in his hand. He was going to kill the four of them. Only that could wash away his hatred. At the crucial moment, he suddenly calmed down. It was daytime and a crowded public space. Even if he did succeed, the police would catch him immediately. If he did succeed, that'd be something. His life for 4 lives would be worth it. But if he didn't succeed and the police arrested him, wouldn't that be doing the adulterous couple a favor? No good. He couldn't take that risk. He had to send all 4 of them to hell. So he had to plan carefully and make sure there were no slip-ups. Sun Sherwu squinted his eyes and quietly followed the 4 of them. Li Shu was a very alert person. She felt as if someone was following them from behind, but when she turned around to look, there were only ordinary pedestrians. Ashu, what are you looking at? Mu Jinbao asked curiously. Jinbao, mother, do you feel like someone is following us? No. Mu Jinbao shook his head. The old lady of the Mu family became frightened and held her great-grandson tighter, looking around. Is there a child trafficker trying to kidnap Yaozong? That's possible, Li Shu answered cautiously. There's a guest house ahead, let's hurry in. All right. The 3 people quickened their pace and entered the guest house ahead. When they got inside the guest house, Li Shu still felt uneasy, so she turned around to look outside again. Sun Sherwu quickly hid behind a tree. Li Shu squinted her eyes, puzzled. Was it just her overthinking? Li Shu turned around and 3 seconds later she quickly looked back again. There was still no one outside. Perhaps she was really overthinking. Only then did Li Shu walk inside feeling reassured. To prevent Li Shu from suddenly looking back again, Sun Sherwu hid behind the tree for more than half an hour before he stepped out. You cheap slut. Sun Sherwu spat on the ground. See how he'll kill you all this time. Sun Sherwu carefully examined the terrain around the guest house and confirmed Li Shu's room, before returning to the alley in the back street. When he returned to the alley, Ai Yang had already left. Sun Sherwu saw the food and drink on the table, and only then did he remember his original plan. Since he had decided to go for a big score, he might as well go all the way. The saying goes, fortune favors the brave. First, get rid of that slut Li Shu, then find a way to get money from Ai Yang and finally disappear. If Ai Yang didn't cooperate, he would kill her too. After all, killing 4 or 5, it's all the same. At this point, what does he have to fear? Thinking of this, Sun Sherwu went to the shop again and bought some other stuff. Night fell and all was quiet around. A figure emerged from the alley, seamlessly blending into the darkness. Chapter 365. The crazy Sun Sherwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _1. The darkness is the best camouflage. It can also conceal all sins. All the unbearable, grimy aspects, all happen in the darkness of night. The night is even more dense tonight. There isn't even a single star in the night sky. The guest house. Li Shu sat on the edge of the bed, uneasily said, I don't know what's wrong today. My right eyelid has been twitching incessantly. Mrs. Mu laughed. A twitch in the morning signifies disaster, at noon wealth, in the evening ingots rolling in. This is a good omen. It means our family's days will get better and better. Their family was now well off. In the future the money would generate more money. Maybe they could even become the richest or something. The more Mrs. Mu thought about it, the happier she became. A good thing? A mocking look emerged in the eyes of Sun Sherwu, who was hiding behind the window. Soon their entire family was going to hell. In a certain sense, this was indeed a good thing. Li Shu nodded. Mom, you're right. Mu Jinbao put his arm around Li Shu's shoulder. Of course, can what our mom says be wrong? Listening to the conversation coming from inside the room, Sun Sherwu clenched his teeth tight. His entire body was trembling. Bitch. But he didn't rashly burst in from the window. Instead he waited until the lights in the room went out and confirmed that everyone inside was asleep. Only then did he openly arrive at the front desk of the guest house. It's past 2 a.m., the prime time for sleep. The old man at the front desk was snoring loudly with his head down on the table. Old man. Sun Shiwu gently pulled open the drawer and spoke at the same time. The old man was sleeping soundly and didn't respond at all. Sun Shiwu then felt at ease. He pulled open another drawer and took out a large bunch of keys. Sun Shiwu found the key he needed, put the rest of the keys back and then swaggered inside. Li Shu and the others were staying in a double room, located on the first floor of the guest house. Sun Shiwu carefully opened the door with the key, took off his shoes at the door and quietly went in. Using the dim light, Sun Shiwu first went to Li Shu's bedside, took out a white towel from his bag and covered her mouth and nose. This towel had been soaked in high-grade ether. Only a dozen seconds were needed in the sleep to make her fall unconscious. After dealing with Li Shu, Mu Jinbao was next, then Mrs. Mu and finally the child. Only after ensuring that all 4 persons in the room were unconscious, did Sun Shiwu switch on the light in the room. With a snap, a dazzling white light lit up in the air and everything in the room was revealed. Sun Shiwu took several ropes out of his bag, tied the 3 adults together, sealed their mouths round and round with tape. After confirming that there were no problems, he fetched a basin of cold water from the bathroom and splashed it ruthlessly on their faces. The 3 dazedly woke up. The 3 didn't know what was happening and could only struggle unconsciously. Bitch. Only when a cold voice came from above their heads, did they lift their heads to look. With one glance, Li Shu was stunned. This is Sun Shiwu? How did Sun Shiwu find this place? Fear gradually took over Li Shu's eyes, and wave after wave of cold sweat broke out on her back. She never dreamt that Sun Shiwu, this bastard, would find this place. What now? Looking at Sun Shiwu's current state, he doesn't look as if he would let this go easily. Did Li Xianxian know Sun Shiwu came to Beijing? Bitch. You dare to cuckold me? Sun Shiwu grabbed Li Shu's hair in one hand and pulled out a sharp kitchen knife from his bag. The light reflected a glaring, cold light. Having been a couple with Sun Shiwu, she knew this beast was capable of anything. Li Shu wanted to cry out for help, but her mouth was sealed with tape and she couldn't make any sounds. Rest assured, I won't let you die easy. Sun Shiwu grabbed Li Shu's hair and fiercely smashed her head against the wall. Bitch. Traitor. You dared to betray me. Betray me and even had a bastard. Li Shu's head was spinning from the impact, the pain unbearable. In just a moment there was the smell of thick, freshly spilled blood in the air. Mrs. Mu and Mu Jinbao weren't fools either. Now at this time, naturally they could guess who Sun Shiwu was. Mrs. Mu wished she could kill Li Shu right now. This damn whore. She had a man on the outside but still lied to them and said she was a chaste lady. Chapter 366. The crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abusing top-quality relatives. The big boss is back _2. What now? What about her precious grandchild? Her newly embraced grandchild. They had just become wealthy. She didn't want to die. She was waiting to enjoy her fortune. If she died, wouldn't all the money and shops in her family just go to Enai Tsuehua and that outsider man she was with? This is Mu family's money. How could it benefit outsiders? No, she couldn't die. Even if she died, she would drag Enai Tsuehua and her daughter down with her. If she couldn't live a good life, she wouldn't let them either. The old lady Mu frantically signaled to Sun Shiwu, hoping Sun Shiwu would spare them. After all, it was Li Shu who had wronged Sun Shiwu. Their family had been kept in the dark too. They were victims. As long as Sun Shiwu spared her, she could give him a lot of money. Unfortunately, Sun Shiwu didn't read minds. He turned to old lady Mu. Old hag, you're in such a hurry to die, huh? Sun Shiwu let go of Li Shu's hair and instead grabbed old lady Mu's hair. How dare your son cuckold me? I'll make sure you don't know what's coming. Fear filled old lady Mu's eyes. Please let her go. As long as Sun Shiwu let her go, she was willing to pay any price. As the saying goes, the daughter pays the father's debts. She wanted to tell Sun Shiwu. She had a beautiful granddaughter, she could marry her granddaughter off to Sun Shiwu. After all, Enai Yang was better looking than Li Shu. She was serious. As long as Sun Shiwu let her go, she would forgive and forget, and let Enai Yang pay the debt. After all, that little wretch would have to get married someday. If Enai Yang wasn't enough, they could add Enai Tsuehua. If Sun Shiwu still felt unappeased, he could kill Enai Yang and Enai Tsuehua. But Sun Shiwu didn't give her the chance to speak. All of a sudden, old lady Mu became anxious and scared, her face full of old tears. She had never been this scared in her life. Sun Shiwu made his move. Blood splattered everywhere. Old lady Mu, in the midst of planning to use Enai Yang and Enai Tsuehua to pay off her debt, fell down in a pool of blood. Murder. 2 murders. Li Shu and Mu Jinbao were ordinary people. When had they seen such a scene? A strong smell of urine filled the air. Sun Shiwu looked down to see that it was Mu Jinbao, who was so scared he had wet himself. Not only urinated, even defecated. The odor was nauseating. Sun Shiwu held the bloody knife and lightly patted Li Shu's face with it. "You've chosen such a coward?" Li Shu's eyes were wide open, as if her eyeballs were about to pop out. Her expression was filled with terror. She began to regret. She shouldn't have come to Beijing. HMN. Li Shu struggled constantly. "Whore, this time next year will be your death-anniversary." A thin silhouette appeared by a public telephone booth. She dialed 3 numbers and the call was quickly answered. "Hello, this is the Beijing Public Security Bureau." Hearing this, Anai Yang's cold expression vanished, replaced with a layer of fear. The hoarse male voice on the phone was filled with heavy crying. Public Security Bureau. Yaoyao C Guest House, Room 104. There's a murder." Sun Shiwu wasn't a good man either. Of course Anai Yang wouldn't let him get off scot-free. Moreover, now that Sun Shiwu had already started killing, even if he couldn't do anything to her, Anai Yang still had to consider for her family's mother and sister. She couldn't let other loved ones be threatened with their lives. As for Li Xianxian, Anai Yang had other plans. After all, Li Xianxian had been scheming for so long. Anai Yang certainly intended to let her experience the feeling of standing on top of clouds. Then let her fall from the clouds. After all, the higher one stood, the harder they fell. "Don't be afraid, comrade. We're coming right now." Anai Yang hung up the phone, a faint smile playing on her lips. The righteous wail of a police siren shattered the quiet night. When the police broke through the door, Sun Shiwu was in the bathroom, dealing with the bodies. Upon seeing the police, Sun Shiwa's face turned white and his blood ran cold. At this moment, he knew he was done for. His life was over. Clang. The blood-soaked cleaver fell to the ground, making a piercing sound. "Don't move." Several officers pinned Sun Shiwu down. The news of the murder at Yao Si Guest House was buzzing by the next day. Chapter 367. The crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _3. It just had to be a murder case involving complete family annihilation. Every single one of them, young or old, was gone. There was no one left to contact to identify the bodies. Thankfully, the suspect was apprehended in time. Li Xianxian jerked awake from her nightmare. She had had a very, very terrifying dream. In her dream, Li Shu, covered in blood, was staring at her. She didn't say anything, but her gaze was all the more chilling for it. That cold went clear to her bones. Even thinking about it now, it sent a shiver of horror down her spine. She felt the sunlight streaming in through the window. Some of Li Xianxian's calm returned. She got dressed, got out of bed and went to eat in the cafeteria. Everyone in the cafeteria was buzzing about the horrifying murder of an entire family the night before. The 2 people seated next to Li Xianxian were whispering about it. Li Xianxian could hear them clearly due to their proximity. The girl with long hair said, "Xiaofei, did you hear? Someone died over at Yaohai Guest House yesterday." Xiaofei exclaimed in surprise, "Really? Is there any doubt?" said the girl with long hair. "The news is all over town. Didn't you see our entire campus discussing it today?" Xiaofei followed up with, "Who were the ones that died?" "They say an entire family of 4 died. The youngest was merely a few months old. The oldest was a woman in her 70s, and there were 2 that were slightly young." At this point, Li Xianxian furrowed her brows. Coupled with the dream she had just woken up from, she had a sinking feeling in her heart. Could it be that the 4 people being discussed were Li Shu and the others? Probably not. Li Shu and the others had just arrived in Beijing, and they had no enemies. Moreover, they were currently with Anai Yang. Li Xianxian was already in touch with organ traffickers. As soon as Li Shu's affairs were settled, the traffickers would take Anai Yang away. With these thoughts, Li Xianxian felt somewhat relieved. She picked up a piece of green vegetable and put it in her mouth. Oh my God! Xiaofei was finding this hard to digest. "Isn't this too horrifying?" "You're telling me," sighed the long-haired girl, "the murderer is a totally cruel person, right? To think they would wipe out an entire family over some grudge or hatred." Xiaofei couldn't even eat anymore. "Has the police found out who did it yet? If this keeps up, who would dare to stay at a guest house?" The long-haired girl replied, "I heard the suspect's name is something like Sun Shiwu. I'm not too sure though." Sun Shiwu? Even though Li Xianxian didn't want to remember this name, she couldn't help but do so. She couldn't forget that father who was as evil as a devil. Wait, by rights, Sun Shiwu should be dead. When Li Xianxian left the Sun family with Li Shu, She had specifically lit a pot of coal and closed all the doors and windows in the house. How could he not have died from carbon dioxide poisoning? What on earth was going on? If the murderer was confirmed to be Sun Shiwu, then those who were killed were definitely Li Shu and the others. But how on earth had Sun Shiwu tracked down Li Shu? Li Xiangxian's chopsticks clattered to the tabletop. All color drained from her pale face. If Li Shu was dead, so what? She had no connection to the Mu family, but if all of Mu family was gone, who else would keep an Yang in check? Xianxian, what's wrong? You look really pale? Noting that something was off with Li Xianxian, Xiaofei turned to look at her. Nothing, Li Xianxian managed to squeeze out a smile. I'm just a bit lightheaded, maybe because I was up all night writing. Even at a time like this, Li Xianxian didn't forget to keep up her image as a hard-working writer. Xiaofei said, Xianxian, you're already so talented and yet you still work so hard, how do you expect the rest of us to live? Exactly, the long-haired girl agreed. Li Xianxian laughed. Have you guys heard of this saying? What saying? Xiaofei asked. Li Xianxian continued, it's something I came up with when I was down on my luck. Don't laugh when you hear it. Okay, both of them nodded, very curious as to what wisdom Li Xianxian had distilled from her misfortune. After all, Li Xianxian was famously talented in their entire school. Anything she said was sure to be thought-provoking. Li Xianxian said slowly, weighing each word carefully, children without umbrellas must run harder. I am different from you. I have no parents, no family, no backing. The only one I can rely on is myself. Therefore, I have to work harder because only through hard work can I lead a better life. Chapter 368. The crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _4. The child with no umbrella should try their best to run. This phrase may seem ordinary, but when you look into it, you can find it filled with life's philosophy. Very motivating. Li Xianxian indeed deserves to be a talented girl. Xiaofei and the long-haired girls admired, saying, Wow, Xianxian, you are so amazing. If you become a famous writer in the future, don't forget to give your old classmates a hand. Remember us when you're rich and successful. Li Xianxian replied softly, I'll rely on your good words. I'll work hard. I'm almost done eating, I'll go first, you guys take your time. After speaking, Li Xianxian picked up her plate and left. Li Xianxian, being an orphan now, found it inconvenient to verify at the police station. Therefore she could only go to Ni Yang's noodle restaurant. If Li Shu and others hadn't died, they would surely show up at the noodle restaurant. Despite the situation, Li Xianxian still held a glimmer of hope. After all, the Mu family were the last bargaining chip she had. She hoped to see Li Shu and the Mu family at the noodle restaurant. God bless. Li Xianxian clasped her hands together. When Li Xianxian arrived at the noodle restaurant, she just saw the queued diners and employees but no one else. Thus, Li Xianxian went to the second noodle restaurant. Here she saw Ni Yang taking orders from customers. There was an old lady with white hair sitting in front of Ni Yang. The old lady looked at Ni Yang, her face almost breaking into a bloom. Who is this? Lady Shangguan? Ni Yang is really getting better and better. She managed to get in touch with the powerful Shangguan family so quickly. No wonder. Ni Yang could not possibly have opened up 4 shops in such a short time. Turns out she had so many helpers. She has been in business for so long and has only made a connection with the Mo family. She wondered what special means Ni Yang had used. Disgusting. Also, she didn't see Li Shu and the Mu family here. Could it be that it was indeed Li Shu who died last night? Li Xianxian glared at Ni Yang, wishing she could bore 2 holes through her. Just then Ni Yang, who was talking to the old lady, suddenly turned her head and locked eyes with Li Xianxian, her lips curving up slightly at a painfully slow pace. She was clearly smiling, yet Li Xianxian felt no warmth from it. Instead, it sent chills down her spine. Li Xianxian nervously avoided Ni Yang's gaze and left the noodle restaurant hastily. Walking down the bustling street, Li Xianxian gradually regained her composure. What was with Ni Yang's gaze just now? Could it be that Ni Yang also returned from the past? If that's the case, then it will be troublesome. But Ni Yang's certain actions weren't quite alike someone who returned from the past. If Ni Yang really returned from the past, she shouldn't be so low-key. As far as she knew, the Ni Yang of the past was a graduate from a prestigious university. A graduate from a prestigious university would undoubtedly have extensive knowledge and reading volumes. All she needs to do is reference famous people or inventions to become famous in Beijing. Why would she need to work so hard to run a noodle restaurant and sell milk tea? It doesn't make sense at all. Regardless of whether Ni Yang returned from the past, she is a very difficult person to deal with. The death of Li Shu and the Mu family members disrupted all of Li Xiangxian's plans. She felt all disoriented and it was unbearable. She didn't know what to do. This was the biggest predicament Li Xianxian had ever encountered in so many years. Time flew by and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. During this month, Li Xianxian made great achievements in the literary field. She was now a successful writer. Even internationally renowned masters praised her work by name. This honor isn't something that just anyone can have. Wherever she went now, Li Xianxian was greeted with smiles and became the talk among all the teachers and students. However, Li Xianxian was wary about being complacent. Over this month, she was secretly investigating Ni Yang. Now that there was no one from the Mu family to restrain Ni Yang, she could only rely on herself. Ni Yang has already started planning for the second physical store of Bingji Yufu. The second storefront will definitely be located in a large mall too. First, because of the high foot traffic, and second, because those who can afford to shop in large malls are always financially well off. Ni Yang is a businesswoman, her first consideration is always benefits. With Bingji Yufu's good reputation and high sales, and thanks to Zhou Hua putting in a good word, Ni Yang was not worried about not being able to rent a shop. While eating dinner, Ni Qinggui handed Ni Yang a document. Yang, this is what Sister Zhou Hua asked me to give you. Have a look at which mall you want to open your branch store in. Chapter 369. The crazy son Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _5. All right. Ni Yang agreed. After flipping through some documents, she continued, well, open it at Phoenix Mall. By the way, Auntie and I, go to the store tomorrow and tell the 3 young girls that whoever can reach a performance of over 30,000 next month, without being late or leaving early, that person can become the store manager of the new store. Although Ni Yang herself was a young girl, she didn't find it inappropriate when she referred to young girls. It's as though she were a battle-hardened figure of authority. Ni Qinggui paused. All right, I'll go tell them tomorrow. In a team, competition brings pressure and pressure brings performance. Moreover, the new store indeed needs an experienced and capable employee to maintain it. By doing so, it boosts overall performance and stimulates the employee's ambition. 2 birds with 1 stone, why not do it? Ni Yang gave a slight smile. Auntie and I, you've been working hard lately. Ni Qinggui laughed and said, it's not hard at all. It's much easier than when I used to work at the car company. Not to mention I got to meet many more people. Even someone from an unreachable upper-class society. Enriching her knowledge and experience. Ni Qinggui really enjoyed this job. In addition, she had a hunch that Ni Yang's business would become increasingly successful, and one day the image of individual business owners would be transformed in people's hearts. F country. A tall and straight figure was walking on the exotic streets filled with foreign charm. Behind him were 6 or 7 blonde blue-eyed F country bodyguards. The passing pedestrians all glanced in his direction. Oh God, he's just perfect. Which country is he from? Judging from his attire and looks, he seems to be Chinese. Chinese men are really handsome. Some young ladies were about to scream. The women abroad were much more open-minded, and some bold ladies that initiated contact were politely rejected by the bodyguards. The man stopped in front of a transparent window. On display was a beige high-grade silk cheongsam, beautifully embroidered, with peonies blooming in the wind that appeared charmingly attractive. At a glimpse, it was elegant and reserved, simple yet dignified. The peony is the king of flowers and not everyone can carry it off. A slight misstep might even backfire. Although the cheongsam looked very nice, no one actually dared to buy it, because it was too lavish. Yang would look good in this cheongsam. The man murmured. An image of her wearing the cheongsam even came to mind. He headed to the cheongsam store. After a few steps, the man looked back to his bodyguards and said, "I'll go in, you guys wait out here." Yes. Several bodyguards immediately halted and waited respectfully outside the door. The store owner was a 20-something Chinese lady, dressed in a light-colored cheongsam that outlined her perfect figure. Her cheongsam had delicate black edges, and she seemed like a quiet and beautiful lily. A beautiful jade in a humble home. Seeing a customer entered, she immediately welcomed him in. Hello. It was a handsome young man. She couldn't help but look at him multiple times. Moreover, she felt as though there was something familiar about this man's eyes, as if she had seen him somewhere before. Without hesitation, the man walked up to the cheongsam. "Please pack this cheongsam for me." "All right." The store owner nodded and took down the cheongsam from the mannequin. "And these shoes as well." He pointed to a pair of black high heels. Yang Yang would definitely look good in these black high heels. With that thought, a slight curl formed at the corner of his mouth. The frigid man suddenly smiled, looking as if the ice and snow were melting, bringing life back to the earth. The owner was taken aback for a moment, then agreed, "All right, please wait a moment." The man looked around the shop and pointed to a delicate lady's handbag. "Pack that bag for me too." Next, his gaze fell on a teddy bear that the mannequin was holding. This bear was so cute. If he gave it to Yang Yang, she would definitely love it. "Please pack that little bear as well," he pointed at the bear. The owner apologetically said, "I'm sorry, but this Winnie bear is not for sale." Chapter 370. The crazy son Sherwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _6. Not for sale? Yes. The shop owner nodded. The man continued, "Name your price." "I'm sorry, but this really isn't for sale." She had seen plenty of men like him who tried to gain her attention by flashing money. The shop owner steadfastly replied, "I'm sorry, sir, no matter how much you offer, I won't sell it." At these words, the man lowered his gaze to look at the shop owner. Only then did he notice that the shop owner was also wearing a cheongsam. However, although she was wearing a cheongsam, she didn't look as good as Yang Yang, lacking that certain aura. Her face didn't match, nor did her figure. Something was off about her. For the first time, the man realized there could be such a huge gap between individuals. Feeling the man's gaze on her, the shop owner's heart rate quickened, and a faint blush spread across her cheeks. While she did have her fair share of suitors, she had never felt this strange sensation before. She thought she might have fallen in love at the first sight. The man casually withdrew his gaze, "Then help me wrap up the other items." All the items were packed by the shop owner, who then looked up at the man and suddenly asked in Chinese, "Are you Chinese?" "Yes." The man nodded. The shop owner continued, "Is your last name Mo?" Before the man could respond, the shop owner quickly asked, "Are you Mo Chishan?" Seeing her recognition, Mo turned to her with a quiet sigh, "And you are?" The shop owner laughed, "I'm Jiro, the girl who sat behind you in the 3rd grade. Don't you remember me?" Mo shook his head. Jiro went on, "That's all right if you don't remember, as long as you do now. I didn't expect to see you in F country. Are you working here now?" Instead of directly answering her question, Mo said, "I have other matters to attend to, I need to be going." "Hey, wait a second." Jiro called out to Mo's retreating figure, running over to grab the teddy bear from the mannequin. "Didn't you want this teddy bear? It's yours." "Thanks, but I can't accept it." Mo politely declined. Accepting a gift given by another woman to give to Yang Yang? What does that make him? Yang Yang might not mind, but he would. Besides Yang Yang, Mo didn't want to accept gifts from any other woman, nor become entangled with them. "Take it, didn't you want to buy this teddy bear?" Mo directly said, "I'm sorry, I don't want my girlfriend to misunderstand." Jiro was surprised. "You have a girlfriend?" "Yes." Mo replied lightly. Jiro continued, "I bet she must be very pretty." Without any hesitation, Mo said, "She is indeed very beautiful." Jiro nodded, a flicker of light flashing in her eyes. "I wish you two a long-lasting relationship and hope you get married soon." "Thank you." After expressing his gratitude, Mo left the Cheongsam store carrying his purchases. Watching Mo's figure disappear down the street, Jiro finally turned around and headed to the counter to make a phone call. "Hello Lanlan, I need to ask you something." "What is it, Jiro?" "I promise I'll tell you everything I know." A crisp female voice came from the other end. Jiro continued, "Do you remember Mo Chishan?" "Yes." Xiaolan replied, "I saw him during the New Year." "Jiro, why are you asking about that loser?" "Loser?" Jiro frowned slightly. Why was Mo Chishan a loser? Xiaolan laughed. "Jiro, you've been overseas for years, it's understandable that you don't know about some things. Let me tell you, Mo Chishan is not the same person he used to be." Zhao explained to Ji all the changes Mo had undergone over the years. Upon hearing this, Jiro didn't seem too surprised. A loser? How could Mo Chishan be a loser? Would a loser have 7 or 8 bodyguards with him when he went out? Would a loser be fluent in the language of F country? Jiro continued, "Does Mo Chishan have a girlfriend back in China?" Xiaolan replied, "You know Zhao Jingrong, right?" "Yes." Jiro thought for a moment. "She was studying abroad, wasn't she?" Xiaolan said excitedly, "She's already returned home not long ago, and let me tell you something, Zhao Jingrong is Mo Chishan's fiancé." "Zhao Jingrong?" Jiro squinted her eyes. No wonder Mo said that his girlfriend was very pretty. From what she remembered, Zhao Jingrong was indeed beautiful, a woman who could stand her ground against her. Zhao Lan continued, however, Zhao Jingrong is no longer Mo Qixin's fiancé. Chapter 371. The crazy son Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _7. What did she say? Zhao Lan chuckled and said, what else can she say? She just simply didn't think highly of Mo Qixin. Think about it, Mo Qixin didn't even graduate from a regular high school, yet Zhao Jingrong is a talented student who returned from studying abroad. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that Mo Qixin is not good enough for Zhao Jingrong. In addition, I also heard that Zhao Jingrong has vowed to marry no one but Mr. Mog in this life. Upon hearing that Mo Qixin and Zhao Jingrong had called off their engagement, Ji Ro let out a sigh of relief. She continued, isn't Mr. Mog quite mysterious? Has Zhao Jingrong ever met him in person? I wouldn't know about that. After chatting with Zhao Lan for a while, Ji Ro hung up the phone. This phone call had given her a new understanding of Mo Qixin. A waste, huh? Ji Ro curled her lips. Zhao Jingrong is probably going to regret it this time. She saw it clearly that those bodyguards following Mo Qixin were all from the F country. There really aren't many Chinese people in F country who have such a large influence. Moreover, Ji Ro has also done some research on the mysterious Mr. Mog. She knows that Mr. Mog made his fortunes in F country. Mr. Mog's headquarters are also based in F country. You don't have to think to know that Mo Qixin is hiding a big secret. She thinks that she can take a gamble on it. Success or die trying. She has been holding on alone in F country for so many years just for Mr. Mog, hasn't she? She is already 29 years old now. If she waits any longer, her prime years will be over. Therefore she must take this gamble. Moreover, she feels that Mo Qixin is also somewhat interested in her. Otherwise, why would a grown man come to a Cheongsam store to buy clothes? He must have said he already had a girlfriend as an excuse to come to the women's clothing store, to catch her attention. However, she didn't see Mo Qixin for the next 3 days. He seemed to just disappear all of a sudden. Ji Ro then made another phone call to China. After receiving the news that Mo Qixin had returned to the country, Wu Daming immediately went to Jinghua village. The location for the second ice skin jade flesh had already been chosen, and they were already renovating the shop, so Yang had been busy with things at home. It was already a particular month now, the house was almost finished, and they could start putting up the beams at the beginning of the month. The roses they had planted by the wall had already sprouted new buds, now they were slowly climbing up the wall. In not so long, the green vine will spread over the whole wall, turning into a beautiful rose wall. When Wu Daming arrived, Yang was watering the roses in the corner of the wall. Sister-in-law. Wu Daming ran up to Yang. What's up? What's so urgent? Yang looked up slightly. Wu Daming continued, Sister-in-law, didn't you ask last time when Brother Six was coming back? Let me tell you some good news, he is on the 3 p.m. flight today. Would you like to come with me to pick him up? Yang was surprised. Really? All in all, she hasn't seen that jerk for 3 months now. Of course it's true. Wu Daming nodded. Sister-in-law, do you want to go with me to the airport? Sure. Yang smiled. I'm going to give Brother Mo a surprise. When should we leave? We should leave now, it's just 2 hours until 3 o'clock. Okay, then wait for me. I'll go inside and change my clothes. If she was going to pick up her boyfriend, there should be some sense of ceremony. Yang didn't want to meet Mo Qixin looking all dirty and messy. She had gotten a bit of mud on her while watering the flowers. And because she wasn't planning to go out this morning, she didn't even bother brushing her hair properly. Okay. Wu Daming nodded. Yang took the bucket and went into the house. It wasn't long before she came out looking neat and tidy. Wu Daming incredulously looked down at his wristwatch. It had not been more than 10 minutes since Yang went inside, and she had already changed clothes and did her hair in less than 9 minutes. The speed was too quick. Wu Daming thought he was in for a long wait. Let's get going. Okay. The two walked to the village entrance and got into a car. About an hour later, they arrived at the airport. By this point, Beijing's airport had modernized significantly with a crowd of people waiting at the exit to pick up passengers. Yang was also standing among the diverse crowd. Wu Daming positioned himself behind her to prevent any opportunist from taking advantage of the crowded situation. Immediately upon deplaning, Mo Qixin spotted a familiar figure in the crowd. He must have gone mad. Maddeningly longing for his wife. Why would Yang be at the airport? Mo Qixin rubbed his eyes in disbelief, then opened them again, but the scene before him remained the same. It was really his wife. Seeing the person had been pining for, Emo Chishin momentarily forgot about everything else, walked straight over to Anai Yang and pulled her into a hug. Holding her in his arms and feeling her warmth, Emo Chishin felt a sense of reality. So, he hadn't been dreaming. Yang, I missed you so much. He deeply inhaled the refreshing scent of her hair. Anai Yang wrapped her arms tighter around the dog of a man. Brother Emo, I've missed you too. Upon hearing her words, Emo Chishin hugged her even tighter. If it weren't for the fact they were at the airport, he'd have probably picked her up, kissed her and swung her around in joy. Single dog Wu Daming at the side, is it really okay for you two to just ignore my existence like this? Upon seeing Emo Chishin refusing to let her go, Anai Yang pushed him away slightly. Brother Emo, we should head back. Oh. Emo Chishin reluctantly let go of her. Wu Daming extended his hand to take Emo Chishin's luggage off his hands. Emo Chishin looked at Wu Daming with distaste. Daming, how come you're here? Wu Daming, so this is the said brotherly love forgotten once the wife comes, huh? Anai Yang laughed and said, Wu Daming gave me a ride here. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have known that you were coming back today. Emo Chishin nodded and said, oh, I see. Thank you for your trouble, Daming. Wu Daming pretends not to hear the offhand thanks. The three walked out of the airport and got into a car. With Wu Daming driving the car, Anai Yang and Emo Chishin took the back seat. Where to go now? Should he drop Anai Yang off first or Emo Chishin? For the moment, Wu Daming was at a loss. It seemed like Anai Yang could tell what was going through Wu Daming's mind and said, why don't we drop Brother Emo off first? He must be tired after the long flight. Emo Chishin said, I'm not tired at all. Let's take your sister-in-law home first. Anai Yang looked at Emo Chishin and said, Brother Emo, do you recall how you promised me? What happened to the promise of listening to his wife and everything? A man's word is full of lies. Emo Chishin said, let's do this. In major matters we'll go with your decision, but can we go with my suggestion for minor things like this? Unable to argue with him, Anai Yang had to agree. Wu Daming compliantly slowed down the car to a crawl. At first the two sat properly in the back seat. But later, Emo Chishin started getting restless. They sat closer together and in the end Hong Chishin daringly pulled her onto his lap. His delicate, thin chin rested on Anai Yang's shoulder, his hands wandering around her waist. Yang, will you come with me to F country next time? The single dog Wu Daming in the driver's seat stealthily glanced at the rearview mirror and immediately felt his innocent heart taking a 10,000-point blow from a love attack. Couldn't bear to look any more. Chapter 372. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification under Sir One. Could the two at the back seat consider the feelings of this single, pitiful man? It's uncomfortable. Heart-wrenching. Feels like crying. What to do? He too desires to be in love. Emo Chishin's arm was tightly wrapped around Anai Yang, his chin rubbing against her neck. Anai Yang pinched his chin, slapping his face while saying, you bastard, your beard is poking me. Faintly colored, the stubble on his chin isn't too noticeable, but it pricks against the soft skin, causing a stinging pain accompanied by slight itchiness. Bastard. Wu Daming in the front seat was dumbfounded. Anai Yang actually called Emo Chishin a bastard. It would have been less surprising if she just called him a bastard, but she even dared to slap Emo Chishin's face. It's over. Emo Chishin must be angry now. Hanging around Emo Chishin for such a long time, he knew Emo Chishin's nature well. He has a quick temper. Easily angered. His character is quite eccentric. Also, he despises anyone touching his face, not to mention a woman. Even his close male friends can't do so. His face is his forbidden area. Is Anai Yang going to get thrown out of the window by Emo Chishin? It's highly probable. After all, such a thing has happened before. Considering this, Wu Daming slowed down the car once more to prevent Anai Yang from getting seriously injured when she gets thrown out. Did it prick you? Emo Chishin asked with a worried face. Does it hurt? I'm sorry, I was in a rush this morning and forgot to shave. At this moment, Wu Daming wondered if he was hallucinating. Was this still the Emo Chishin he knew? Does he not care about his face anymore? And Anai Yang called him a bastard, yet he did not respond. My God. This is too terrifying. Wu Daming was doubting his life. It appears that Emo Chishin is really serious about Anai Yang. Wu Daming looked at Anai Yang differently now, with more respect. Emo Chishin was carefully blowing on the prickly spot. Anai Yang, with disgust, covered his mouth. Stop blowing, are you a fool? Emo Chishin mustered courage and kissed Anai Yang's hand. Anai Yang had no reaction. Emo Chishin, whimpering, so afraid the wife will get mad. Since a kiss has already been given, why not kiss again? Pingamo Chishan mustered the courage and gave her another kiss. Enai Yang's hands were soft, smooth and delicate despite her frequent hard work, with no calluses, her fingers slim, fair and exquisite, like a piece of top-grade mutton fat jade. Enai Yang pinched his nose. Will you ever stop? Seeing that Enai Yang wasn't angry, Mo Chishan became braver. He whispered into her ear, Wife, your hands smell great. Enai Yang raised an eyebrow. You have no shame. Not having any shame, yet I am still your man. Enai Yang, she realized Mo Chishan, this bastard, is becoming even more of a jerk. Wu Daming in the front seat, please spare me this display of affection. As if suddenly remembering something, Mo Chishan picked up a package from under the seat. Yang, this is a gift I brought for you from F country, take a look and see if you like it. There was a splendid cheongsam and a pair of black high heels inside. The cheongsam was made of high-quality silk, giving it a great feel, which immediately caught Enai Yang, a cheongsam enthusiast's attention. The shoes were size 36. Enai Yang curiously asked, How do you know my shoe size? Mo Chishan replied with proud arrogance, How could I not know my wife's shoe size? He was a fully dedicated all-round perfect boyfriend, the kind who dotes on his lover. Just then the car passed by a Western restaurant. Enai Yang said, Brother Mo, have you eaten yet? No. Mo Chishan shook his head and said, The airline food was terrible. Then let's go have Western food? If you're not in a rush to go home. Having dinner with his wife, why would he be in a hurry to get home? There was no wife at home. I have nothing to do at home anyway. Mo Chishan continued, Daming parked the car in front. We are going to have Western food. Feeling the death gaze from the back of his head, Wu Daming, desperate to survive, said, No. I can't eat Western food, my stomach is not good, he'll have a stomachache after eating it. Brother Six and sister-in-law, you two go. Mo Chishan regretfully shook his head, Well, in that case, it can only be me and your sister-in-law. The car stopped in front. Mo Chishan helped Enai Yang out of the car. The two entered the Western restaurant. The restaurant had a romantic ambience, with fresh roses on the tables and violin melodies lingering in the air. It was the perfect place for a couple to have dinner. Chapter 373, Abused the Rotten Peach Blossom, Sent for Identification Understood. Mo Chishan carefully pulled out a chair for Enai Yang. Thank you, Brother Mo. Enai Yang said as she gracefully took a seat opposite him. Why are you still so polite with me? Mo Chishan replied, reaching over to affectionately stroke her nose. Enai Yang smiled and retorted, So should I thank the bastard instead? Mo Chishan replied seriously, Never thank me again. Because being nice to his wife was only natural. Got it? Enai Yang, her eyes brimming with laughter, handed him the menu. Go ahead and order. You order. Enai Yang questioned, How would I know what you like? Mo Chishan responded, I'm not a fussy eater, I'd love whatever my wife orders. We each order 2 dishes, no refusals. Enai Yang wasn't the dictatorial type. All right. Mo Chishan nodded, I'll do as my wife says. After Enai Yang ordered 2 dishes, she handed the menu back to Mo Chishan. It was 4 in the afternoon at this moment. There were quite a few people sipping afternoon tea in the restaurant. Sitting opposite Mo Chishan and Enai Yang were 2 girls. Jingrong. Ying, sitting opposite Zhao Jingrong, signaled her with a glance. What is it? Zhao Jingrong was puzzled. Ying continued, Jingrong, look behind you. Zhao Jingrong turned to take a look and her face immediately twisted, distaste clouding her features. Why did he follow me here? Ying stated, Certainly Mo Chishan must still have a thing for you. That's why he sneaked in after you. What a disgusting man, you have broken off the engagement so long ago, yet he is still stubbornly clinging to you. Shameless. Zhao Jingrong snorted, if he had any shame he wouldn't have followed. He doesn't even have the decency to look at himself. A toad trying to eat swan meat. Ying nodded, immediately aligning herself with Zhao Jingrong. And Jingrong, have you seen the girl next to him? She's quite pretty. Zhao Jingrong's expression darkened. Who in the entire Beijing could be prettier than her? Seeing the change in Zhao Jingrong's demeanor, Ying quickly corrected herself. Although she's pretty, she can't compare to you, Jingrong. In front of you she's nothing more than a sparrow. No. She's nothing, not even a sparrow. You're the bright moon in the sky, she's nothing more than a clump of mud. The Zhao family was indeed a prestigious family in Beijing, and the Yi family was just small fry in comparison, hence Yi Ying's attempts to gain Zhao Jingrong's favor. Zhao Jingrong brightened instantly, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. Continuing the conversation, Ying suggested, Jingrong, I bet Mo Qishan brought this girl here just to make you jealous. He wants you to react. Jealous? Would she feel jealous towards that loser? Zhao Jingrong mocked, a loser stays a loser. His lousy tricks can't even impress anyone. He's doomed for life. Ying nodded in agreement. You're right, Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong pulled out a couple of RMB notes from her wallet and placed them on the table, saying, let's go towards Ying. Ying immediately followed Zhao Jingrong's lead. As they passed by Mo Qishan, Zhao Jingrong glanced at Enai Yang. At that moment, a hint of surprise flickered in her eyes. She had only glanced at her earlier but hadn't really noticed her. This girl was indeed somewhat attractive. She could just about compete with her. Zhao Jingrong had already been back in Beijing for a while and had thoroughly investigated all the wealthy heiresses in the city. She was certain that this girl did not belong to the elite circles. She wondered where Mo Qishan had found this actress to put on such a show of affection in front of her. Mo Qishan. Zhao Jingrong walked over and stopped next to their table. Her eyes were filled with scorn as she looked down at him. What's the point of this? Enai Yang, who had been chatting with Mo Qishan, was suddenly interrupted by a woman's imperious voice. She glanced up and saw a face heavily made up with expensive makeup. This person. Well, she didn't recognize her. Could she be Mo Qishan's stalker? Enai Yang turned to look at Mo Qishan. Mo Qishan quickly explained, Yang, don't get it wrong, I have nothing to do with her, she's just been persistently annoying. Hearing this, Zhao Jingrong retorted angrily, the one being annoying? Mo Qishan, you're obviously playing your part too well. Clearly, it's you who has been stalking me. You've been severely disrupting my life. As if stalking wasn't enough, now you've even hired an actress for your play. You think this could provoke me? Let me tell you, our engagement is long over, I would never, ever be attracted to someone like you. Chapter 374. Abused the Rotten Peach Blossom, sent for identification _3. What a pain in the ass. Zhao Jingrong was furious. She didn't understand why her family initially arranged this marriage for her. Now she was having real trouble. Mo Qishan was just like a sticker, you can't shake him off. Wait a minute, Enai Yang spoke softly, then said, what exactly did you just say, miss? I'm an actress? Brother Mo is stalking you? Miss. Enai Yang actually called her miss. Doesn't she know that the thing women care about the most is their age? No one would be happy if a girl about a decade younger than them kept referring to them as miss. Zhao Jingrong angrily replied, are you not the actress hired by Mo Qishan? If he wasn't tailing me, then how could he just so happen to be in this restaurant? Enai Yang laughed, if I'm an actress, how much did you pay me? And may I ask, is this restaurant your personal property? Is it the case that other than you no one else can come? Look carefully, dear miss, there are many people in this restaurant. Are you implying they are all here because of you? Did they all follow you here? When she heard this, the other diners in the restaurant cast complicated glances at Zhao Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong choked on her words, her face turned very ugly, and she was left speechless in anger. An actress is just an actress. Isn't their mouth just like a fountain, who can withstand it? You are making baseless accusations. Spouting nonsense. Zhao Jingrong finally squeezed out these words after being pent up for a while. It was clear that she was the victim. But why was the situation now reversed and being made her fault? If you are saying Mo Qishan wasn't tailing me, do you have any evidence to prove he wasn't? Enai Yang responded with a light smile. Dear miss, if you say Brother Mo is stalking you, I can also say that you are stalking Brother Mo. Do you have any evidence to prove you aren't? Zhao Jingrong was almost angered to death by Enai Yang. She was stalking Mo Qishan? She would stalk Mo Qishan, such a loser? Wasn't Enai Yang actually insulting her? Little bitch. How dare you talk to Jingrong like that? Ying angrily interjected. Mo Qishan's face changed and he looked over at Ying. That look made Ying shudder, made her feel chilled to the bone. Were those really the eyes of a loser? Ying looked at Mo Qishan again, only to find that he had already averted his gaze. That must have been a misperception just now, right? Yes. It must have been a misperception. Enai Yang kept her cool, saying indifferently, stirring up the pot first makes you the shameless one. Who's the real bitch here, don't I need to spell it out? Having spoken, Enai Yang continued, little girl, at such a young age, I suggest you keep your mouth clean, build up some good karma for your descendants. Try to be kinder as a human being. Upon hearing her words, the surrounding crowd started to gossip about Zhao Jingrong and Ying. Enai Yang looked at Zhao Jingrong and then said, also, Mo Qishan is now my boyfriend. If you know what's good for you, miss, Please stay away from my boyfriend in the future. At that, the surrounding crowd had an even more complex look, and the whispers grew louder. So she's trying to steal that young girl's boyfriend. Tisk tisk, you can't really judge a person by their looks. Zhao Jingrong's face was ghostly pale. She had never been so embarrassed in her life. She originally came here intending to put Mo Qixin in his place, to make him give up on her, but she didn't expect to be ridiculed by a young girl. Mo Qixin, you're doing great. Does he think that by doing this I would like him? How ridiculous. Let's go. Zhao Jingrong turned her head to look at Yi Ying. Yi Ying immediately followed Zhao Jingrong's steps. The two left the restaurant in a rather sorry state. Inside the restaurant, Mo Qixin dared not meet Ai Yang's eyes. Ai Yang lifted her eyes to look at Mo Qixin. Brother Mo, aren't you going to explain? Although she knew Zhao Jingrong was just infatuated with herself, Ai Yang was a bit angry. After all, Mo Qixin was the first person she truly liked. Mo Qixin swallowed. Yang, you can just call me a jerk again. Mo Qixin suddenly felt that being called a jerk was more comforting and made him feel safer. Ai Yang kept a straight face and didn't say anything. Yang? Mo Qixin carefully prodded Ai Yang's finger. Ai Yang didn't respond. Mo Qixin continued, Yang, there's really nothing between me and her. She is Zhao Jingrong, the one I told you about earlier. We already broke off our engagement and I don't like her at all. Yang, won't you stop being angry please? Chapter 375. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification _. Ai Yan responded grimly, who knows if you have a plethora of ex-fiancés? Today it's Zhao Jingrong, maybe tomorrow it will be Wang Jingrong and the day after might be Zhou Jingrong. I swear I don't. Mo Qixin raised 3 fingers, it's only this one Zhao Jingrong. It was back when I was immature for a few months and my family's elders arranged it. Really no one else? Ai Yan raised an eyebrow slightly. Absolutely no one else. Only then did Ai Yan reveal a smile. Fine, I'll believe you this one time. Are you full? So let's go back. All right. Mo Qixin nodded and followed Ai Yan's pace. Ai Yan went to the bar to pay the bill. Mo Qixin didn't dare say anything else, looking somewhat like an aggrieved little wife. The two of them were walking one in front of the other. Mo Qixin reached out to tug at Ai Yan's sleeve. What's up? Ai Yan turned her head slightly. Mo Qixin then said, Yang, can you call me a douchebag again? Otherwise he kept feeling that Ai Yan hadn't really forgiven him. Ai Yan pinched his waist. You bastard, if there's a next time I won't spare you. When he heard the long missing phrase, Mo Qixin felt a sense of relief. Bending over, he appeased in a low voice, Yes, my lord wife, I promise there won't be a next time. But Ai Yan pinched even harder. Silver-tongued devil. Mercy my dear, this is called wholeheartedness. Wholeheartedness for you and only you. The two of them arrived at the car bantering all the way. Wu Daming first dropped off Ai Yan, then drove Mo Qixin back to the Mo family. He wasn't sure whether it was an illusion, but Wu Daming felt that after Ai Yan alighted, the temperature inside the car fell several degrees, becoming oppressively cold. He could barely breathe. Do you know the Yi family? After a while Mo Qixin's voice came from the back seat. I do. Wu Daming nodded. Brother Six, did the Yi family offend you? Mo Qixin slowly lit a cigarette. His handsome face seemed to be coated in a thin layer of ice, something far more serious. Huh? Wu Daming widened his eyes in disbelief. What could be worse than offending Mo Qixin? His curiosity was sparked. What on earth had the Yi family done to be considered unforgivable? So, Mo Qixin looked up at Wu Daming. Do you know what you should do now? Yes. Wu Daming nodded. Any family that upsets Mo Qixin typically ends up with only one outcome. Disastrous. Furthermore, Mo Qixin continued, the Zhao family needs to be taught a serious lesson. Okay. They quickly arrived at the Mo family mansion. Mo Qixin had disappeared for over 4 months. His sudden return took Granny Mo by surprise. 6th. Mom? Mo Qixin went in and embraced Granny Mo. Granny Mo complained, You rascal, where have you been? No sign of you for such a long time. Mo Qixin replied, I went out to work. Work? Granny Mo said in surprise, Did I hear wrong? Or did the sun rise from the west? Mo Qixin helplessly answered, I really did go to work. Granny Mo nodded dismissively, All right, you went out to work. Mo Qixin. Granny Mo continued, 6th, do you have enough money on you? If it's not enough, just let Mom know. Don't worry, we have plenty of money. Emo Chishin replied, "Don't worry, I'm not short on cash." Granny Emo took out 2 cards from her pocket and shoved them into Emo Kishin's hand. "Keep these cards." Emo Chishin helplessly said, "Mom, I really don't need money." Granny Emo responded with displeasure, "You are my son, my youngest son. Can't your mom give you money? Take my money. It's not humiliating." "Mom, actually I am." Emo Chishin whispered in Granny Mo's ear. After hearing Emo Kishin's words, Granny Emo burst out laughing. "You child can't even lie convincingly. Only tell your mom such things. If it gets out, people will laugh their teeth off." "Emo Chishin," Granny Emo continued, "now that you're back, Aunt Wang introduced a girl to you. Find some time to see her tomorrow. You're not getting any younger. When I was your age, your elder brother was already 12. Don't worry, I've checked her out. The girl is really nice, well-educated, and her family is full of intellectuals." Chapter 376. Abused the Rotten Peach Blossom, sent for identification _5. Although Lady Emo had a strong desire to bring Ni Yang and Emo Chishin together. However, Ni Yang was much younger than Emo Chishin. Her future held countless possibilities. She was afraid that Ni Yang wouldn't fancy Emo Chishin. Besides, Emo Chishin was not young anymore. He could no longer procrastinate. Emo Chishin said, "Mom, I have a girlfriend." "What?" Lady Emo stared incredulously at Emo Chishin. "I have a girlfriend, so Mom, you don't need to worry so much." Lady Emo then said, "You have a girlfriend? You're not making fun of me, are you? Why would I lie about something as serious as this?" Lady Emo hastily asked, "Where's the young lady from? How old is she this year? How does she look? How many are there in her family?" Emo Chishin said, "It's a secret. You'll naturally know when the time comes." "A secret? Even getting a girlfriend has to be kept secret. Just trying to fool her. She thinks she, the mother, is becoming senile?" Lady Emo said, "Regardless, either you bring her over tomorrow for us to take a look, or you go meet the girl Auntie Wang has introduced." Emo Chishin hesitated. "I need to consult with my girlfriend. It seems that this rascal might actually have a girlfriend." Lady Emo felt strangely excited. Lady Emo continued, "Since you're already courting the girl, you should take responsibility for her. Let her get to know you better. Discuss it with her tomorrow. If she's willing to come to our house, I'll make preparations. We can't be rude to the girl." Emo Chishin nodded, "All right." Lady Emo continued, "By the way, is your girlfriend as pretty as Ni Yang?" Emo Chishin gave a mysterious smile. "Why don't you guess? Little brat." Lady Emo gave a playful smack to Emo Chishin's head. "Don't play tricks on me." Emo Chishin continued, "You'll know when the time comes. Can't you just tell me straight?" Emo Chishin stroked his chin. "How should I put this?" Just then Emo Baichuan walked in from outside. Upon hearing this conversation, Ni Yang's words suddenly flashed in his mind. Last time Ni Yang said that she and Emo Chishin were together. Could the girlfriend that Emo Chishin was referring to be Ni Yang? They couldn't possibly be together, right? Would Ni Yang genuinely fancy Emo Chishin? Probably not. If the girlfriend Emo Chishin was talking about was indeed Ni Yang, he wouldn't have been so secretive. Why wouldn't he just say it outright? Yes, that person definitely isn't Ni Yang. Upon this thought, Emo Baichuan breathed a sigh of relief and headed upstairs. "Chuan Chuan." Lady Emo called out to Emo Baichuan's retreating back. "Grandma." Emo Baichuan respectfully responded. Lady Emo continued, "Baichuan, didn't you see your 6th uncle has come back?" Emo Baichuan turned to Emo Chishin. "6th uncle?" Emo Chishin nodded. "Good boy." Emo Baichuan slightly furrowed his brow. Emo Chishin was always so nonchalant and aimless. He found it strange if Ni Yang actually fancied such a man. At the Ni family's house. The moment Ni Yang arrived home, Ni Tsuehua curiously asked, Yang, where were you?" "I went to the airport to pick someone up." "Who?" Ni Yang continued, "It was Emo Chishin." "Mom, I'm dating Emo Chishin." Presently, Ni Yang didn't want to hide from Ni Tsuehua anymore. Ni Tsuehua smiled and said, "Then you have to treat Xiaomo well. Xiaomo is a good boy, you're not allowed to bully him." Ni Tsuehua sincerely admired the young Emo Chishin. As Ni Yang chopped tomatoes, she said, "Look at what you're saying. How could I bully him?" Ni Tsuehua continued, "Does Xiaomo's mother know about this? Their family is unlike ours. Will his mother have any prejudice against us?" Rest assured, Auntie Emo is not the type to judge by appearances. Ni Yang was quite familiar with Lady Mo's character. Upon hearing this from Ni Yang, Ni Tsuehua finally felt relieved. The next day, and Yang took Enai Tsuehua to the city. The weather was getting warmer, and Yang wanted Enai Tsuehua to go to the city more often. Staying home all day could easily lead to depression. There were lots of people on the street. Spring had come and kite vendors could be seen everywhere. Yang bought an eagle kite. Mom, why don't we take Yun to the park to fly kites? Chapter 377. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification _6. Little Yun is 1 month old now and can already toddle around. Not far from here there's a wetland park. At this season the wetland park is bustling with parents who bring their children out to fly kites. Upon seeing the kites, little Yun laughs with joy. Sister, sister, sister. Yang says, Yun, that is a kite. Little Yun follows and says, Hongzheng. Kite. Yang corrects her. Hong. Yang. The three women head toward the direction of the wetland park. At this moment, Enai Tsuehua is bumped into by a fast-walking passerby. She doesn't know if it's an illusion, but she suddenly feels a pain in her scalp, as if her hair has been pulled out. The passerby immediately apologizes. I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. Are you okay? Since the passerby apologized sincerely, Enai Tsuehua didn't dwell on it and replied, I'm fine really. Upon hearing that Enai Tsuehua was okay, the passerby hastily walks off, as if afraid Enai Tsuehua might accuse her of something. Mom, are you really okay? Yang asks. Enai Tsuehua smiles and says, I'm not made of gold, what could possibly happen to me? That's a relief. The passerby swiftly runs into a small alley and hands over 2 strands of hair to a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man hands him 10 yuan. Thank you, says the passerby, smiling. If there is such work in the future, you can contact me at any time. Yang and Enai Tsuehua walk along the road. Suddenly, a male voice sounds from behind them. Yang. Yang looks back and sees Mo Chishan. Brother Mo. Yang. Mo Chishan runs over and greets politely, Good day, auntie. Knowing that Mo Chishan and Yang are dating, Quihua's gaze softens considerably. Xiaoma, you're here. Yes. Mo Chishan nods. Auntie, where are you and Yang going? Enai Tsuehua says, We are heading to fly kites. Xiaoma, would you like to join us? Sure. Mo Chishan agrees happily. Because Enai Tsuehua is present, Mo Chishan doesn't dare to behave frivolously, he doesn't even dare walk too close to Yang. They walk behind Enai Tsuehua. When Enai Tsuehua isn't looking, Mo Chishan reaches out and quietly holds Yang's hand. When Enai Tsuehua turns back to speak to them, Mo Chishan quickly releases Yang's hand, and seriously answers Quihua's questions. He's acting as if nothing had happened. Yang stifles a laugh, extends her pinky finger and hooks Mo Chishan's little finger, whispering, Brother Mo, actually my mom already knows about us. If you want to hold hands, just hold it. This man is really stubborn. Mo Chishan's heart leaps. Really? Yes. Yang nods. Then how does mom perceive me? Mo Chishan lowers his voice. Yang says, You're fine. After finishing her sentence, Yang realizes something was off. She nudges his waist with her elbow. What do you mean our mom? She's my mom, stop trying to take advantage. Mo Chishan clutches his waist, acting dramatically. Murdering your own husband, that's what you're doing. You jerk. At this moment, Enai Tsuehua turns back. Yang, it's a left turn up ahead to get to the park, isn't it? Mo Chishan quickly lets go of Yang's hand, startled. Yang nods and says, Yes mom, a left turn up ahead and we'll be there. All right. Yang turns his gaze to Mo Chishan, teasing, Anyway, my mom already knows. What are you afraid of? Mo Chishan says, I have to maintain a good image in front of mom. What if she thinks I'm not steady enough and not a good match for you? Yang laughs, You fool. They arrive at the park soon after. The May weather is not cold, not hot. It's just right. All sorts of kites are flying in the park sky. Enai Tsuehua and little Yun are busy flying kites, while Yang and Mo Chishan sit under a big tree chatting. Yang, my mom wants to invite you over to our house tomorrow. Yang looks at Mo Chishan, puzzled. Mo Chishan continues, As my girlfriend Yang, do you want to go? Is it time to meet the parents already? Yang is stunned. Yang? Yang thinks for a moment. Sure. It's inevitable that the ugly wife will meet her in-laws. Besides, she's already quite familiar with Mo's Mrs. and Mr. Chapter 378. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification _7 Really? Mo Chishan asked with some uncertainty. Mitchum. And I Yang nodded, raising an eyebrow and counter-asking, "What? You don't want me to go?" "Of course not." Mo Chishan said, "I've been dreaming of you going Yang. You are really great." In fact, before asking this question, Mo Chishan was very nervous. After all, he and Ai Yang haven't been in a relationship for that long. He was afraid Ai Yang would think he was too frivolous. Mo Chishan was born a prodigy, but in front of Ai Yang, he didn't have much security. Because Ai Yang was just too outstanding. And she was so much younger than him. He was afraid Ai Yang would despise him. Over here Ai Tsuehua and little Ai Yun had already flown the kite into the sky. Little Ai Yun clapped his hands excitedly. "Amazing, kite." Ai Tsuehua handed the kite reel to little Ai Yun. "Yun, can you hold this?" Once he had hold of the reel, little Ai Yun became even more excited. Just then, the kite string suddenly broke. The kite in midair began to descend in a straight line. Little Ai Yun pointed at the kite, anxiously saying, "Down, gone." "Yun, don't worry, mommy will take you to pick it up." Ai Tsuehua carried little Ai Yun towards the place where the kite had fallen. Halfway there, she saw a tall man carrying an eagle-shaped kite and walking in their direction. "Comrade, is this your kite?" "Yes, it's ours." Ai Tsuehua, holding the child with one hand and accepting the kite with the other, said, "Thank you." "No problem, it was just a small favor." It was then that Ai Tsuehua recognized the man's face and exclaimed in surprise, "It's you." The man looked at Ai Tsuehua in confusion. "You are?" Ai Tsuehua continued, "We met on the tram before. If it hadn't been for your timely intervention then, my child and I might have been in big trouble." Although they had met only briefly at the time, Ai Tsuehua had a deep memory of his face. After all, he had helped her so much. Yes, this man was none other than Shangguan Dehui, the father of Shangguan Su. Shangguan Dehui only remembered the incident that had happened on the tram about 5 months ago. In the vast sea of people, two strangers meeting again was indeed a rare fate. "Oh, it's you. The child has grown so much." Children can change a lot in a short time. There was a big difference between little Ai Yun at 7 months and at 11 months. Fufu. Little Ai Yun was very smart and knew to call younger people brother and older people uncle. She could say anything now except for daddy. Shangguan Dehui loved children. Seeing such a cute little Ai Yun, he couldn't help but ask, "Would you mind if I hold the child?" "Not at all." Ai Tsuehua handed the child to Shangguan Dehui. Shangguan Dehui reached out to take the child. Little Ai Yun was rarely held by men and was very excited at this moment. Shangguan Dehui continued, "What's the child's name?" Ai Yun. Ai Tsuehua explained, the Ni with a person radical, followed by Yun as in cloud. Shangguan Dehui nodded, "Reach the end of the water and sit to watch the rising clouds." "It's a very nice name." "Thank you." Ai Tsuehua thanked him. If it had been before, Ai Tsuehua would definitely not have understood the meaning of these 2 lines of poetry, but now things were different. For more than half a year now, she had been reading every day and had completely transformed. "Dad." Shangguan she ran over from the other side, and when seeing Ai Tsuehua and little Ai Yun in Shangguan Dehui's arms, she paused for a moment. Shangguan Dehui took the initiative to introduce, "This is my daughter, Shangguan Shi. Xiaoxi, this is Aunt Ai Tsuehua and her daughter Ai Yun." Shangguan she greeted them politely, "Hello, Aunt." Little Ai Yun chirped out, Sis. Of all the words she could call out sister the clearest. Seeing how adorable little Ai Yun was, Shangguan's heart was instantly warmed. "Hello, little sis." "Hello, sis." Little Ai Yun was especially well behaved. Shangguan she took out a candy from her pocket. "Little sis, this is for you." "Thank you, sis." Little Ai Yun's face was so thrilled, her eyes squinted into slits. "You're welcome." Shangguan she gently patted her little head, then remembered something and addressed Shangguan Dehui, "Dad, Aunt Lin and the others have arrived." "Oh, let's go then." After bidding Ai Tsuehua farewell, Shangguan Dehui and Shangguan she left together. Meanwhile at the Zheng family. Zheng Lingling noticed that today, old lady Zheng had once again called butler Lu to the study room. So, under the pretense of delivering chicken soup to the old lady, she brazenly lurked outside to listen in. Inside the study room, old lady Zheng asked, "Butler Lu, how is that matter progressing?" Butler Lu replied, "Old madam, please don't worry. I have given the hair to Dr. Wang, the results should be out in about 3 months." Old lady Zheng nodded and then asked, "There has been no leak, has there?" "You can trust my discretion." "That's good." Old lady Zheng sighed in relief. "Butler Lu, I'm sorry for troubling you over this period. Butler Lu said, Old madam, it's my duty and responsibility. The study room was reasonably soundproof. From outside, Zheng Lingling could only vaguely catch a few phrases. Dr. Wang, appraisal of the hair, things of that nature. Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes, an ominous feeling surged in her heart. The old witch couldn't actually have found her real daughter, could she? If she did find her real daughter, then what would happen to her and Zheng Xianjing? And so, before the old witch made her will, nothing should threaten them. Better safe than sorry. Dr. Wang. Yes. This matter had to start with Dr. Wang. Zheng Lingling gradually cooled down, steadied herself and left with the chicken soup. Mom, what's wrong? You don't look well. Zheng Xianjing looked worriedly at Zheng Lingling. Zheng Lingling put down the chicken soup. Xianjing, come with me. Oh. Zheng Xianjing followed Zheng Lingling to the third floor's bedroom. Zheng Lingling closed the door and recited what she had overheard outside the study room to Zheng Xianjing. Upon hearing this, Zheng Xianjing's face changed markedly. Mom, what should we do? Surely we can't just sit and wait? Zheng Lingling continued, we have to find a way to replace the hair sample with Dr. Wang. Replace the hair? Zheng Xianjing furrowed her brow. Yes. Zheng Lingling nodded. Zheng Xianjing then asked, that might be difficult, right? Zheng Lingling thought for a moment, that's why we need to plan carefully. We can't afford to be careless. Having said that, Zheng Lingling added, Xianjing, I remember Dr. Wang's son was your high school classmate, right? He's been to our house before, hasn't he? Yes. Zheng Xianjing nodded. Zheng Lingling instructed, this weekend you should invite him out. Zheng Xianjing narrowed her eyes. Mom, you mean? Zheng Lingling nodded. Chapter 379, Clever Mrs. Zheng meeting the parents one by one revised, _1 Zheng Lingling turned her head towards Zheng Xianjing, a slight curve appeared on her lips, recognizing the look in the other's eyes. Despite Dr. Wang being unselfishly generous, he still has a son. They could take action related to the son. If they really wanted to go ahead, this matter would not be complicated. What Zheng Lingling didn't expect was that the conversation in the study room continued even after she left. Mrs. Zheng, tinged with worry, asked, Butler Lu, do you really think modern equipment can be so accurate as to verify blood relations? Matters concerning her only daughter made Mrs. Zheng extremely worried. She could not put all her hopes on the machines. No matter how good the machine was, there could still be errors. What if there were a mistake? Butler Lu said, Don't worry, madam. We live in an era of advanced science and technology. There surely won't be any errors. Mrs. Zheng then said, Butler Lu, you might have to go through the trouble again to send another hair sample to Dr. Xiaoran. Madam, do you not trust Dr. Wang? Asked Butler Lu. An extra authentication so that I can have peace of mind. Butler Lu, I'm already 68 this year and as the years pass my health is deteriorating. I'm afraid. Towards the end Mrs. Zheng let out a deep sigh. Her subsequent words were already understood without being spoken. Butler Lu said, Madam, you will surely live a long life. Mrs. Zheng laughed. I understand my own body and mind well enough, Butler Lu. There's no need for your consolation. Butler Lu followed up, Madam, even if Miss Tingting is not found, you still have Xianjing by your side. Xianjing is a good child, but smart people often encounter misfortune. Mrs. Zheng looked up at the door and continued to say, I clearly understand what Lingling is considering in her heart. A few days ago did Lingling secretly look for you? Asking about Tingting's matter? At these words, Butler Lu was taken aback. His gaze towards Mrs. Zheng changed. He thought Mrs. Zheng knew nothing. In reality, Mrs. Zheng was as clear-hearted as a mirror. She knew everything, she just did not wish to bring it up. The reason for seeking Dr. Xiaoran to verify the results was probably because she was worried that Zheng Lingling would ruin it from the inside. Thinking of this, Butler Liu's gaze towards Mrs. Zheng was filled with more respect. Mrs. Zheng continued, My older sister left us early, and Lingling was only 7 years old when she came to live with me. Even though the girl might be a bit too assertive at times, she's essentially not a bad person. Zheng Lingling was brought up by Mrs. Zheng, and she was her sister's daughter. Although they were not biological mother and daughter, their bond had the foundation of the previous generation's relationship. If it weren't for a friend's plea, Mrs. Zheng would not have been in the mood to adopt a daughter at the time. Butler Lu nodded, Madam, what you said is right. After Zheng Lingling and her daughter discussed their secret plans and left the room, they bumped into Butler Lu and Mrs. Zheng coming down the stairs. Grandma, Zheng Xianjing came over reverently, supporting Mrs. Zheng's arm. Zheng Lingling said, Mom, I have made chicken soup for you. The temperature is just right now. I will bring it over to you. Mrs. Jing chuckled. Lingling, you've worked hard. There is no need for you to make chicken soup for me every day. Zheng Lingling said, it's not hard at all to prepare some chicken soup. As your daughter, looking after you is only right. As soon as she finished speaking, Zheng Lingling turned around to fetch the chicken soup from the kitchen. Zheng Xianjing led Mrs. Zheng to the couch to sit down. Just as Zheng Lingling was walking into the living room with the chicken soup, she was knocked over by a figure. Bang! The chicken soup was spilled on the floor and the porcelain bowl was smashed to pieces. Clapping and laughter echoed in the air. Wow! So much fun. It's really fun. Ah. Mom, are you all right? Zheng Xianjing immediately ran over to help Zheng Lingling up. Zheng Lingling was furious. Her eyes flashed with intense venom. The chicken soup that she had worked hard on for over 3 hours had just been spilled by this crazy woman. If it wasn't for Mrs. Zheng's presence, she would have slapped her already. Zheng Lingling smiled and said, I'm fine, Xianjing, don't worry. Even though Zheng Lingling claimed that she was fine, there was a frightful red mark on her wrist. Zheng Xianjing said, I'll go get the burn ointment. No need, Zheng Lingling laughed. Surely a wound this small doesn't need burn ointment? Suyu. Mrs. Zheng looked sternly at the person who caused the chicken soup to be spilled. Sister, that was fun. Zheng Suyu didn't realize her mistake, her eyes were sparkling with excited laughter. Chapter 380. Clever Mrs. Zheng meeting the parents one by one revised, _2. Zheng Suyu is the youngest sister of old Master Zheng, and she is 56 years old this year. This younger sister was a talented woman in her early years, but she unfortunately met a faithless man and lost all faith in marriage. She openly declared that she would remain unwed for life and had been living in the Zheng's residence ever since. Then, 3 years ago she went mad overnight while she was perfectly fine. When she was taken to the hospital, the doctors diagnosed her with a mental illness stemmed from severe depression. There was almost no chance of recovery. Ghost. You are a ghost. Zheng Suyu stared at Zheng Lingling. She suddenly became frightened. How terrifying. There's a ghost. Ghost. You all are ghosts. Zheng Suyu suddenly pushed Zheng Lingling onto the ground, laughing crazily. Ha ha. The ghost is dead. The evil ghost was killed by me. I am so powerful. Suyu. Madame Zheng shouted angrily. Butler Lu, take Suyu back to her room. Sister, behave. Suyu will behave. Zheng Suyu plaintively clung to the sleeve of Madame Zheng. She looked like a scared child, making people reluctant to scold her. When was it that Zheng Suyu was also a person proud to the bone? Fate plays with people. Madame Zheng's eyes were filled with sadness and helplessness. Zheng Lingling, understanding the situation, said, Mom, please don't blame Aunt Suyu, I was just not steady on my feet. Aunt Suyu didn't mean to. If she could control herself she wouldn't behave like this. Wah. Zheng Suyu made a face at Zheng Lingling. Madame Zheng sighed, looking at Zheng Suyu, and said, Suyu, when can you get better? Sister, hee sister, you are so beautiful. Zheng Suyu suddenly became excited and started hopping around the room. Madame Zheng sighed again, her eyes full of sorrow. Park. Shengguan Dehui lost his wife early. His visits to the park this year were not just for leisure walks but also for matchmaking events. Shengguan Su and Shengguan Shi were sensible children. They did not object to their father finding a companion. The woman he met was Lin Fong, who is exactly 40 years old. Her husband passed away 5 years ago from liver cancer, and she remained unmarried. Shengguan Dehui is already 42 and at his age, he didn't have high demands for women. As long as the woman was gentle, virtuous, and able to live a daily life, that would be enough. Lin Fong was a kindergarten teacher, had an elegant job, and was decent in character. There was no significant generation gap between her and Shengguan Dehui. After the meeting, Shengguan Shi asked, Dad, what is your impression of Aunt Lin? Shengguan Dehui said, You can only know a person's heart with time. Shengguan Shi asked, So that means your first impression is good. Shengguan Dehui turned the question. Xiaoxi, what do you think of Lin Fong? In fact, he didn't mind much. As long as Shengguan Su and Shengguan Shi thought it was okay, it was okay. Shengguan Shi smiled and responded, I think Aunt Lin is nice. She has a good background, a decent job, and a gentle personality. I think she's very compatible with you. How about dating Aunt Lin for a while, Dad? If you find you are not compatible, you can break up. Shengguan Dehui said, I will think about it more. Shengguan Shi nodded and continued, Actually, Aunt Lin is really good. I heard from Grandma Zhao that her husband has been gone for 5 years, but she has been devotedly serving her paralyzed mother-in-law without any complaints. Lin Fong was indeed a good person. Shangguan, she did not want her father to miss her. Lin Fong returned home with a smile on her face. As soon as she opened the door, her only daughter, Changyu, eagerly asked, "Mom, how did it go?" Lin Fong said, "I think Shangguan de Hui should be quite satisfied with me." "Really?" Changyu asked in surprise. Lin Fong nodded, "At least the first impression is good." Changyu continued, "Mom, you must seize the opportunity. The Shangguan family is a wealthy family. If you marry into it, then I will be a lady of wealth. Moreover, I heard that Shangguan Su is the president of a bank and he is also very handsome." Changyu got lost in her own fantasies. If her mother marries into the Shangguan family, although she can also become a rich young lady, she will always be a stepdaughter. But if she could capture Shangguan Zu's heart, it would be different. Then she would become the true mistress of the Shangguan family. Lin Fong laughed and said, "Do I need you to tell me that?" Just then a hoarse voice came from the next room, "Hungry. I am so hungry." Chapter 381. Clever Mrs. Zheng meeting the parents one by one revised, _3. Lin Fang's expression quickly turned intolerant, cursing and walking into the house. "Hungry, hungry, always hungry. You old hag, didn't you just eat this morning?" The room was a storeroom filled with a strange smell and assorted items. On a bed in the corner lay a skeletal old woman. Although the old woman was feeble, her eyes were exceptionally spirited. "Hungry. I am hungry." Lin Fong picked up a cold hard steamed bun and threw it at the old woman's head. "Eat up, you old hag. Poisonous woman, loose woman. You killed my son, you will not have a peaceful death." The old woman glared at Lin Fong, her eyes seemingly ready to devour. "You old hag. All you can do is eat and talk." Lin Fong grabbed the steamed bun and shoved it into the old woman's mouth. If it wasn't for concern about her own reputation, Lin Fong would have gotten rid of this old hag long ago. Lin Fong warned, "You old hag, if you dare to create any more trouble, watch how I deal with you." Lying paralyzed on the bed, the old woman was a helpless target for Lin Fang's numerous ways of torment. At these words, the old woman dared not say anything more. Lin Fong turned and walked back to the living room. Changyu voiced her concerns. "Mom, what will happen to that old lady if you marry into the Shangguan family?" Lin Fong responded, "Don't worry about that. Mom will find a way." "Oh." Changyu nodded. Mo family. After Mo Qixin returned, he told Grandma Mo about Ni Yang's visit the next day. Upon hearing this, Grandma Mo excitedly asked, "Really? You're not picking on me, are you?" Mo Qixin chuckled. "Do you think I am teasing you? Good. This is great." Grandma Mo exclaimed, "I must start preparing now. By the way, what does the young lady like to eat?" After thinking for a while, Mo Qixin replied, She prefers spicy food and also fruit. Like grapes and lychees, for instance." Grapes, lychees? These fruits were out of season, causing a bit of a dilemma for Grandma Mo. To get these fruits, they would have to be sourced from outside. Given the inefficient transportation of the times, a round trip would take at least a week. "You naughty boy. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? It's already dark now, where am I supposed to get these fruits?" Grandma Mo complained to Mo Qixin. Mo Qixin replied, "Mom, don't worry, I've already prepared these fruits. Now, just go and get a good night's sleep, and greet your future daughter-in-law with your best spirit tomorrow." "You naughty boy." Grandma Mo playfully slapped Mo Qixin. Mo Qixin continued, "I'm going to my room now. Off with you. Good night, Mom." Mo Qixin waved at Grandma Mo. After leaving the room, Mo Qixin immediately went upstairs to share the good news with Grandpa Mo. Upon hearing the news, Grandpa Mo exclaimed, "Really? Which poor girl has our naughty boy bewitched?" Despite referring to it as a bewitchment, the smile on Grandpa Mo's face couldn't be hidden. Initially, Grandpa Mo had been worried that Mo Qixin wouldn't be able to overcome the shadow of his broken engagement. Grandma Mo smiled and said, "I don't know either, and our naughty boy stubbornly refuses to spill any beans. But it doesn't matter, since we will see the girl tomorrow anyway." Grandpa Mo put down the brush in his hand. "As it's the girl's first visit, we must not neglect the preparations. Go and tell Ping Ping and Baichuan. I want everyone to be home tomorrow." Grandma Mo nodded. "You're right. They'll go and inform Chuan Chuan and the others now." With a pleased smile, Grandma Mo went to Mo Baichuan's room. Next, Grandma Mo called Lin Ping Ping. After learning the entire situation, Lin Ping Ping hesitated and said, "Aunt, considering that I'm divorced, will the girl's family feel uncomfortable if I attend such an important occasion?" Grandma Mo responded, "You silly girl. What time are we living in that you still have such thoughts? Divorce? So what? Divorce is not a disgrace. By coming, you're showing respect to the girl's family and also helping to keep an eye on things." Upon hearing this, Lin Pingping agreed. Bright and early the next day, Mo Qishan woke up. He opened his wardrobe, debating on what to wear, trying on outfit after outfit without satisfaction. Finally, he decided on his frequently worn white shirt. Chapter 382, Clever Mrs. Zhang Meeting the Parents One by One Revised, _4. After choosing his clothes, he carefully shaved off his stubble, meticulously washed his face, and finally headed downstairs. When he reached the ground floor, Mr. and Mrs. Mo were sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper. "Old Six, you're up. I was just about to wake you," they said. "Mom, Dad, have you eaten yet?" "Your dad and I already ate. We left breakfast for you on the table. The quicker you consume it, the sooner you can go pick up your bride." "Okay." Mo Qishan picked up a meat bun, saying, "I'm leaving now." After Mo Qishan left, Mrs. Mo fell into a state of anxiety. "Husband, do I look good in this outfit? Is it acceptable?" In anticipation of meeting her future daughter-in-law, Mrs. Mo was dressed exceptionally formal today. Mr. Mo, without lifting his gaze from the newspaper, said, "The young lady is dating old Six. What's the use of you looking good?" Mrs. Mo replied, "I want to make a good impression on her." Mo Qishan cycled to the Ni family's courtyard. When he arrived, Ni Yang was in the living room having a meal. "Xiao Mo's here," Ni Tsuehua urged. "Yang Yang, hurry up and eat." "Okay." Ni Yang managed a garbled agreement while still eating porridge. Mo Qishan said, "No worries, Auntie, there's no rush. We still have plenty of time." Ni Tsuehua laughed and said, "Little Mo, have you eaten yet? If not, you can eat with us. The pan-fried dumplings this morning were hand-wrapped by Yang Yang herself." Mo Qishan politely said, "Thank you, Auntie, but I've already eaten." Ni Yang lifted her eyes towards Mo Qishan. "Brother Mo, why so shy?" Ni Tsuehua handed him a fresh pair of chopsticks and a bowl. "We are all family, little Mo, there's no need to be formal." Mo Qishan stood up, accepting the bowl and chopsticks with both hands. "Thank you, Auntie." In a little while, Ni Yang put down her bowl and chopsticks, then said, "Brother Mo, take your time. I'm going to change." "Okay." Mo Qishan nodded. Somehow his face suddenly flushed. For some inexplicable reason he felt a little warm. Within a short time, Ni Yang emerged from her room fully dressed. However, Mo Qishan was not in the living room. "Where is he?" Ni Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Just then there was a sound from the kitchen. Ni Yang went to see and found Mo Qishan washing dishes in the kitchen. He was slightly bent down, fully concentrated, and hadn't even noticed Ni Yang's arrival. His rolled-up sleeves revealed the strong, fair wrists. His hands were slender, with clear, pronounced veins, a hand model's delight, tempting one to touch. In this era, unlike future generations, men tended to be chauvinistic, believing that kitchen chores were women's work. But he looked completely at ease doing them. He really knew how to put on a show. Ni Yang approached him with a light smile. "Brother Mo, pretty impressive." Mo Qishan responded with a grin. "Thank you for the compliment, boss. Also, this cheongsam you're wearing is really beautiful. You're like change from the Moon Palace." Ni Yang was wearing a cheongsam she brought back from F country. The pale yellow cheongsam accentuated her already fair skin, making it look as delicate as a peeled eggshell. The cheongsam was embroidered with lifelike peonies, which were typically known as the king of flowers and were known for their ability to enliven Beijing when they bloom. However, with the cheongsam on Ni Yang, the peonies seemed to lose their shine. Ni Yang's eyes twinkled. "I see you're still good with your sweet talk." After washing the last dish, Mo Qishan leaned towards Ni Yang and said, "Would you like to taste how sweet?" Ni Yang was shocked, her cheeks instantly turning a deep shade of red. She glared at him, shameless. She quickly realized that Mo Qishan, the loathsome man, was becoming increasingly flirtatious. Ni Yang even began to suspect that Mo Qishan's initial innocent demeanor was just a ploy to beguile her. Mo Qishan gazed at her, seemingly lost in thought for a moment. My God. His bride looked beautiful even when she was angry. Ni Yang ignored him and walked out of the kitchen. Mo Qishan immediately followed her out. Ni Tsuehua brought out a prepared gift for Ni Yang. "Yang Yang, you should bring this." "Okay." Ni Yang reached out for it. Mo Qishan said, "Auntie, you really don't have to." Ni Tsuehua smiled and said, "This is Yang Yang's first time visiting your home as your girlfriend. It's a basic courtesy. Xiaoma, if you don't accept it, it'll get upset. Emo Qishan chuckled, Auntie, thank you. And Tsuehua said, why are you still being so formal with me, little Emo? Alright, you two should get going. Don't keep your family waiting. Chapter 383, Clever Mrs. Zhang meeting the parents one by one, revised, _5. Alright, Auntie, goodbye. Goodbye. And Tsuehua waved her hand. Emo Qishan was still riding on that bicycle. And Yang was sitting at the front. It wasn't that Emo Qishan didn't want to drive over, but that he enjoyed this feeling. The Emo family. The elderly Mr. and Mrs. Emo had been eagerly awaiting for quite a while. Just then the butler, with binoculars in hand, rushed downstairs from the floor above. They're here. Master, Madam, the sixth young master is biking over. Old Madam Emo excitedly said, really? The butler nodded, yes, they're already at the intersection now. Old Madam Emo turned her head and directed her gaze at Master Emo. Come on, dear, let's hurry out to meet them. Old Master Emo responded nervously, wait a moment, wait a moment. What's wrong? Old Madam Emo looked at Master Emo impatiently. If you have something to say it quickly. She was eager to meet her future daughter-in-law. Master Emo continued, this outfit of mine, does it look all right? In a rather disgusted tone, Old Madam Emo said, the young girl is dating our sixth son, not you. What use is there for you to look so presentable? Master Emo, what goes around comes around indeed. Old Madam Emo continued, butler, go upstairs and call for Ping Ping and Chuan Chuan. After all, this is the young lad's first time visiting us, we must not neglect our etiquette. The butler responded, all right, I will go right away. Master and Madam Emo headed towards the door. Both of them waited with bated breath. Why haven't they arrived yet? Didn't the butler just say they were here? Yeah. Why aren't they here yet? Both elders were getting anxious. Just then, they could finally see the silhouette of a person riding a bicycle within their line of sight. Getting closer and closer. Old Madam Emo excitedly said, they're here. Old Master Emo squinted his eyes and said, why does this young lady look somewhat familiar? It was only when Emo Qishan introduced Yang to the old couple that they finally reacted. Mom, Dad, let me introduce you to my girlfriend Yang. Yang greeted them with a smile. Aunt Emo, Uncle Emo. What? Both Old Master and Old Madam Emo glanced at each other, surprise written all over their faces. Old Madam Emo was the first to come back to her senses, gripping Yang's hands and asking, Yang, you're not joking with me, are you? Did Emo Qishan really manage to win her over? This felt more like a dream, it was so unbelievable. Yang responded, Auntie Emo, do I look like I'm joking? Old Madam Emo shook her head, no, not at all. Oh my. Who would have thought, Emo Qishan really won over Yang? A thing even she didn't dare to dream of. Old Madam Emo was on top of the world with her excitement. She even felt the urge to break into song. Master Emo finally responded, Yang, come in and sit. Come in. Emo Qishan held Yang's hand and the two of them entered the grand doors of the Emo family together. As soon as they entered, they encountered Lin Ping Ping and Emo Baichuan, who were descending from the upper floor. The two of them were completely taken aback. Nobody had expected that the visitor would have been Yang. Lin Ping Ping quickly came over to Yang. Oh my god. Yang, brother six, what's this? Emo Qishan smiled and said, Sister Yang and I were together now. Lin Ping Ping was speechless for a long while. Emo Baichuan, who followed behind, directly froze in place. He never thought that Yang would actually be with that good-for-nothing Emo Qishan. What is Yang trying to do? What's Yang really up to? Is she still trying to get his attention? By getting close to Emo Qishan and having the chance to get close to him? Emo Qishan looked up at Emo Baichuan. Nephew, aren't you going to greet your future aunt? Emo Baichuan had a stiff expression on his face. Chuan Chuan. Old Madam Emo gently reminded, scared he might offend Yang again. Emo Baichuan walked up to Yang, Aunt 6. Was Yang trying to provoke him? Then he's also going to provoke Yang a little bit. He just wanted to see how Yang would respond to his mention of Aunt 6. Yang responded ambiguously with a smile, my big nephew. Emo Baichuan's face was turning an unsightly hue. Yang did dare to. She really did dare to. Did she think that by doing so he would think highly of her? No way. Never. Emo Hudi walked into the house from outside. Upon seeing Yang, she was so excited that she hugged Yang and said, Sister Yang, when did you arrive? Chapter 384, Clever Mrs. Zhang meeting the parents one by one revised, _6. Old Mrs. Mo said cheerfully, Shout I, you can't call N.I. Yang sister N.I. Yang anymore. Why? Mo Hudi asked curiously. Mo Chishan squatted down looking at Mo Hudi, because sister N.I. Yang is now your uncle's girlfriend. Mo Hudi exclaimed, Really? Mo Chishan nodded. Mo Hudi continued, Uncle, I knew you had a thing for sister N.I. Yang. Mo Chishan. Mo Hudi added, So does that mean sister N.I. Yang will be my future auntie? Yes. Mo Chishan nodded. Mo Hudi looked at N.I. Yang, Auntie, if my uncle dares to bully you, just tell me. I will kick his ass for you. N.I. Yang laughed and pinched Mo Hudi's face. Okay. Mo Baichuan's face got darker. He turned around and walked toward the door. Old Mrs. Mo asked, Chuan, where are you going? To pick up my girlfriend. Mo Baichuan responded without turning back. He was really curious to see if N.I. Yang could hold her breath. Old Mrs. Mo wondered aloud, When did this boy get a girlfriend? Old Mr. Mo said, Don't worry about him. Then he lovingly looked at N.I. Yang saying, Yang, come and sit here. Uncle Six got a lot of your favorite fruits yesterday. Old Mrs. Mo chimed in, Yes, Yang, come here. The two elders seemed like they would give N.I. Yang anything good from their house. They showered N.I. Yang with affection, their eyes practically blossoming with flowers. Old Mrs. Mo handed N.I. Yang a peeled lychee. Yang, here, eat more lychees. They're sweet. These grapes are also delicious. Uncle Six, quickly peel some for Yang. Old man, go cut a fruit plate for Yang. There are watermelons and mangoes in the kitchen. Mo Chishan, he felt a little left out as a son. A black jeep stopped in front of the girls' dormitory. Mo Baichuan, frosty and cool, got out of the driver's seat, ignored the men's stop sign and went straight into the dormitory. Mo Baichuan was tall and handsome. His appearance drew the admiration and attention of many girls wherever he walked. Mo Baichuan pushed the dormitory door open. Li Xianxian was writing an essay on the table when she was startled by the sudden noise. Who? When she looked up and saw the handsome face of Mo Baichuan, the word, caught in her throat. Baichuan. Li Xianxian looked at him with surprise. How come you're here? Mo Baichuan pulled Li Xianxian up. Li Xianxian, don't you want to be my girlfriend? Li Xianxian blushed. I'm asking you, do you want to be my girlfriend? Mo Baichuan asked again. Li Xianxian suppressed her excitement. Baichuan, why are you asking me this? Was Mo Baichuan confessing his love to her? The day she had been waiting for, had it finally arrived? Li Xianxian felt that her heart was leaping out of her chest. Mo Baichuan repeated impatiently, I ask you, do you want to be my girlfriend? Li Xianxian knew Mo Baichuan too well. She knew that he was not a man of sentimentality. He was aloof and not good at expressing feelings. It was already a big step for him to have come this far. So, she had to seize this opportunity. Yes. Li Xianxian bashfully nodded her head. Mo Baichuan was satisfied and said, Good, I'll give you the chance to be my girlfriend right now. Really? Li Xianxian felt as if her heart was no longer her own. She was finally waiting for this day. Mo Baichuan continued, Go change your clothes now. Li Xianxian was a bit taken back. Huh? Change your clothes. Mo Baichuan said, Put on your prettiest outfit. Was this a date? Li Xianxian was excited. Okay. Wait for me, Baichuan. Mo Baichuan's face remained expressionless. I'll wait for you downstairs. Okay. Li Xianxian nodded excitedly. Mo Baichuan turned around and walked downstairs. Li Xianxian opened her wardrobe, selected her best dress, sat in front of the makeup table, and began to paint her eyebrows and do her makeup carefully. Her roommate, Zhang Yingying, came in from outside and said excitedly, Xianxian, I saw a certain someone's car downstairs. Is Mr. Mo waiting for you? Li Xianxian was a little embarrassed. You figured me out. Zhang Yingying was curious. Xianxian, are you and Mr. Mo together now? Li Xianxian bashfully nodded. He just confessed his feelings to me. Really? Zhang Yingying exclaimed with envy. Really? Li Xianxian put down the eyeshadow. I can't talk anymore. I need to go. Baichuan is still waiting downstairs for me. Okay, go ahead. Li Xianxian was a talented woman, and Mo Baichuan was a big shot. They were absolutely perfect together. It wasn't long before Li Xianxian came to the bottom of the building. Mo Baichuan was sitting tight behind the wheel, his face tense. Seeing Li Xianxian getting into the car, he said, Buckle up. All right. Li Xianxian lowered her head to fasten her seat belt. The black jeep sped along. As the road became more and more familiar, she asked, Baichuan, where are you taking me? Mo Baichuan replied, back to my house. Back to his house? Was this getting serious? Li Xianxian was stunned. Having visited the Mo family on numerous occasions, this time felt different. She was going as Baichuan's girlfriend? Li Xianxian said hesitantly, should I prepare any gifts? Are Uncle Mo and Auntie Mo at home? Mo Baichuan's parents didn't live in Beijing, but at their old house in Jiangnan. They only came back occasionally during the holidays. Right now, only my grandparents are at home. Oh. Li Xianxian nodded. Li Xianxian wasn't too worried about Mo's grandparents as they were quite fond of her. What she was worried about were Mo Qixin's parents. After all, the last time she left an impression on Mo Baichuan's parents, it was not particularly good. With Mo Baichuan driving rapidly, it wasn't long before they arrived at the Mo's household. When they got out of the car, Mo Baichuan held onto Li Xianxian's arm. Let's go in. Okay. Li Xianxian nodded. The living room was bustling with activity. Yet, Li Xianxian did not feel any warmth from the Mo family. Li Xianxian squinted her eyes slightly. Mo Baichuan pulled Li Xianxian in front of everyone, formally announcing, Grandpa, Grandma, Uncle 6, Cousin and future Aunt 6, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Li Xianxian. Chapter 385. Jealous, eh? Go take the exam. _1 Upon hearing this, there was some silence in the living room. Although Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo had hoped that Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian could get together in the past, they were disappointed by Li Xianxian's recent behavior. Especially after the incident about the gift dress was exposed by Grandma Zheng, Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao had gone out of their way to discuss this matter with Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo. They felt that Li Xianxian was too vain and did not match up with Mo Baichuan. Consequently, Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo had given up the idea of setting the two of them up. Unexpectedly, when they had tried to pair these two in the past, they had not gotten together, but now that they left them alone, they had unexpectedly ended up together. What's going on? Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo looked at each other and saw the dilemma in each other's eyes. A flicker of displeasure flashed in Li Xianxian's eyes but was quickly gone. What kind of reaction was that from Grandpa and Grandma Mo? Didn't they like her a lot before? And what about Yang? How did Mo Baichuan introduce her just now? Yang was going to be his future aunt? Could it be that Yang really had gotten together with Mo Qixin? She didn't know if Yang was really with Mo Qixin, or if it was just a trick to attract Mo Baichuan. After all, Yang could get closer to Mo Baichuan through Mo Qixin. No, she could not let her guard down. As long as Yang was alive, she would not find peace. Li Xianxian suppressed her thoughts and said softly, Hello Grandpa and Grandma, Aunt, Uncle, future aunt. Grandma Mo was the first to react and said with a smile, Xianxian, sit down, don't be shy. Thank you, Grandma. Li Xianxian sat down on the sofa. Mo Baichuan also sat down at the same time. His gaze unconsciously swept over Yang, trying to find any clues. Unfortunately, there weren't any. Even when he publicly declared Li Xianxian as his girlfriend in front of Yang, she didn't show any special expressions. What did Yang want to do? Was she putting on a show for him? Mo Baichuan clenched his fists, his lowered eyelids hiding the emotions in his eyes. Li Xianxian gently laid her hand on Mo Baichuan's, looked over at Yang, and a hint of triumphant smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. So what if Yang had her eyes on Mo Baichuan? The one who got Mo Baichuan in the end was her. She would absolutely not let anyone take Mo Baichuan away from her. Grandma Mo continued, Xianxian, you can eat any fruit you like. Don't be shy. While saying this, Grandma Mo handed a peeled tangerine to Yang. Yang smiled and took it. Thank you, Aunt Mo. Li Xianxian's face looked a bit unpleasant. She felt that Yang had taken away the treatment she deserved. After all, before Yang arrived, she was the apple of Grandma Mo's eye, and Grandma Mo would love to give her all the goodness of the world. You little bitch. Just as Yang finished eating the tangerine, Mo Qixin handed her a peeled lychee. How about another lychee? Yang shook her head. I'd like to eat some grapes. All right. Mo Qixin nodded, picked up a grape and carefully peeled it. A moment later, Mo Qixin offered the peeled grape to Yang. Yang took the grape with her mouth, her red lips accidentally brushed his finger, and the slightly cool contact felt like an electric shock. Mo Qixin's ears turned a shade of red as he stared at her moist lips covered with grape juice. He was suddenly seized by an impulse to kiss her. They must be sweeter than grapes. The grape had seeds. As Yang was about to spit out the seed, Mo Chishan reached out his hand. Just spit it on my hand. Looking at Mo Chishan, then at Mo Baichuan beside her. Li Xianxian felt that Yang was overly dramatic and showed too much. Just because Mo Chishan likes her, she started acting arrogantly and forgot who she really was. Women should naturally serve men, but Yang, on the contrary, let men serve her. She has no sense of propriety. Li Xianxian picked up a banana, peeled it, and handed it to Mo Baichuan. Baichuan, eat the banana. Without comparison there is no harm. She wanted everyone to see how virtuous and good she was. What did Yang have to compare with her? Mo Baichuan took a bite, his eyes hiding a dangerous glint, because the scene in front of him was too glaring. He didn't know why he cared so much about Yang. Undoubtedly Yang was deliberately putting on a show for him, but he still couldn't help feeling angry and upset. Chapter 386. Jealous. Go take the exam. _2. No way. Why should he be the only one suffering? He wanted Yang to taste this feeling too. He didn't believe that Yang would remain indifferent after seeing how good he was to Li Xianxian. He would make Yang show her true colors and bow her arrogant head to him. The taste is good. Mo Baichuan gave Li Xianxian a small smile. I'm glad you like it. Li Xianxian bashfully asked, Baichuan, would you like some water? Mo Baichuan nodded. Li Xianxian held the cup to Mo Baichuan's mouth, gently reminding him, drink slowly, be careful, it's hot. The expressions of Mr. and Mrs. Mo were somewhat complicated. The atmosphere was warm before Li Xianxian came. However, when Mo Baichuan brought Li Xianxian, the atmosphere changed. It felt strange. There was an indescribable feeling. Mo Chishan turned to Yang. Yang, wanna visit my room? Okay. Yang nodded. After bidding farewell to Mr. and Mrs. Mo Chishan led Yang upstairs. Mo Baichuan watched their departing figures, veins pulsating on the back of his hand. Li Xianxian's glance slid across Mo Baichuan's hand, a hint of a sinister light flashed in her eyes. Baichuan. Mr. Mo stood up. Come with me. All right, Grandpa. Mo Baichuan got up and followed Mr. Mo. Mrs. Mo looked at Li Xianxian and said, Xianxian, I'm going to check the kitchen. Grandma, I'll go with you. Li Xianxian dutifully supported Mrs. Mo's arm. The chefs in the kitchen were busy, the air filled with a tantalizing aroma. To welcome Yang, the Mo family had specifically invited a world-renowned chef. Seeing all this, Li Xianxian felt overwhelmed. She didn't expect that Mr. and Mrs. Mo seemed colder towards her on the surface, but in secret, they prepared all this extravagantly. They even invited an internationally renowned chef. Of course, the Mo family couldn't have arranged this alone. This had to be Mo Baichuan's doing. After all, the power of Mr. Mog in Beijing is unparalleled. Just thinking about becoming Mrs. Mog, Li Xianxian felt incredibly honored. Mrs. Mo chuckled, remember to add more chili when you cook. Li Xianxian was puzzled. Grandma, don't you and Grandpa dislike spicy food? To cater to the tastes of the Mo family, Li Xianxian had long adjusted her diet to be less spicy. Mrs. Mo smiled. Yang likes it. Yang likes it? The chef invited by Mo Baichuan, cooking dishes that Yang likes? Was Mrs. Mo forgetting who the guest of honor is? This is too outrageous. She is clearly Mo Baichuan's official girlfriend, yet Yang is receiving treatment that was originally intended for her. Li Xianxian discreetly furrowed her brows, jealousy seeping from her eyes. What on earth was Mrs. Mo thinking? Had she lost her mind? Upstairs in the study. The atmosphere was somewhat stifling. Mr. Mo stood in front of his desk. Baichuan, what's going on with you and Xianxian? Mo Baichuan replied, Li Xianxian is my girlfriend now, isn't that what you and Grandma have always wanted? Mr. Mo continued, Baichuan, your grandmother and I have talked about this. We had mistaken judgment before. Xianxian is not right for you. Why won't you listen? Mr. and Mrs. Mo had discussed this issue with Mo Baichuan before. Mo Baichuan didn't react much at the time. Little did they expect that in just a few months, Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian would end up together. Mo Baichuan responded, Grandpa, I'm a human being, not an object. I can't control my emotions. I can't just like someone because you want me to. Li Xianxian and I have spent a lot of time together. Certain things are beyond my control now. These words seemed like his true feelings, but at the same time felt casually tossed out. It was hard to tell what was true and what was false. Mr. Mo sighed, regarding this matter, your grandma and I are also to blame. We shouldn't have interfered with matters of the heart. Baichuan, you're a smart boy. Think about this carefully. From our observations over this period, Xianxian isn't as simple as we initially thought. Mo Baichuan replied, Grandpa, I'm afraid I might disappoint you this time because I truly like Li Xianxian. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.